Next up on the list is Geometry Wars Retro Evolved and Geometry Wars 2. One of the games of the generation.
Yes, it's a fantastic game. It was released with the Xbox 360, right?
Yeah, that is the game that
it's fair to, that was the best launch game on the Xbox 360, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, one of the it kickstarted Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah.
I'd still play that game now. You know, if it worked on Xbox One.
I imagine if I gave it to you right now, you would probably play it for an hour at least and have a lot of fun on it.
Oh yeah, if you brought that game here, I'd happily sit and play it for an hour.
Yeah.
I actually think it's a big omission from the Xbox One launch lineup, and I think Microsoft probably would have loved to have had it. It's only because, you know, all of the companies involved are now sadly not with us.
Yeah. They're not dead.
They're
just
people aren't dead.
They're just closed.
Yeah.
The second one was excellent. I mean, the second one, you know, took the concepts and pushed it further. If I was to choose to play either of them,
it'd be the second.
Probably be the second.
You know
it's not as pure. It's got all the different modes. As a game to keep your attention for longer, the second one and all the leaderboard stuff is better. And but just for the time, that first game, was just amazing. I mean, I remember, you know, looking at all the background move and stuff. I remember there's a story, like we were all like obsessing about how the Xbox used one of its cores just to animate the background, you know, the waves and stuff. Like, wow, this is the next gen.
Very early gen sort of news, that sort of stuff.
Kind of revived that, you know, the classic game design for this era. So stuff like, you know, what's the PlayStation game called now? Resogun, and games that followed after it, Pac-Man Championship Edition, that kind of thing, wouldn't.
It kind of
as popular.
It showed that you could take
the arcade,
you know, that
concept.
sort of arcade retro concepts and evolve it.
With geometry.
With geometry.
It's really interesting.
Some would
isn't it,
say it was a bit of a bizarre creation.
Oh, fucking hell!
What?
All right, that's nuts. Put an ending to that. Rob, you were about to say something on it?
Yeah, it's really interesting how, like, I guess when you buy a brand new console, it's quite an endeavour, isn't it? And I guess you just want to play something light.
I want to see pretty things.
I want to just sit down and play something light and get to know the system.
I want to play Resogun and see
which is why Resogun works,
It's something that I do quite. Anytime I get a new console, it's generally the simple stuff. Like you say, we had Geometry Wars. With the Wii U, I spent most of the early days with that playing Little Inferno. Stuff like that, like Resogun's the one.
I mean, Resogun is the new Geometry Wars, isn't it?
I play Power Star Golf more than I'd like to admit on Xbox One just now. It's weird.
It is weird. I guess you've just like given birth to something and you just want to just go outside and have a small fag now, essentially. That's a metaphor, by the way.
A horrible visual image.
So Geometry Wars goes in, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One or two, though?
One. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Next up, Bastion.
Yeah.
Who's played Bastion? Wow.
No, I thought it was okay.
I thought it was okay too. I was preparing for a much more passionate argument for it, but then I had a flashback to finishing and going, that was all right.
The old barometer, is it one of the top 5 games on PSN or Xbox Live Arcade?
I don't know. I think it'd be in the top 10, but I don't know top 5.
I think it
was really, really interesting for the way it handled narrative. It narrated everything you were doing, and as things went wrong, the narrator was like, no, I don't remember it happening like that. I mean, it kind of, that's carried on with other games going forward, but I don't know. I don't think it's one of the best games of this generation.
No,
and
one of the cleverest. But
one of the cleverest, thoughtfully designed, really interesting.
And that's why it made the long list, right?
Yeah.
Bye-bye, Bastion.
Mm-hmm. DJ Hero?
Yeah. You love a bit of DJ
I
Hero.
love DJ Hero.
I
think
DJ
that
Hero.
is the single greatest music franchise.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I think every Guitar Hero pales in comparison. Every Rock Band in the creativity involved in creating that game.
The mixes in it were really, really good.
And they're mixes. They're not just taking...
the mashups were really, really good. But I kind of hated myself a little bit for becoming... all of those people that irritated me with Guitar Hero, with who used to say, "What's the point? I might as well play a real guitar." But that was even more relevant with DJ Hero because I begrudged every minute I played DJ Hero because I could be on my real decks, becoming better.
Do you know the difference is?
And the mechanics are even closer than, it's not like they've put some buttons there.
I don't know. When I played Guitar Hero, I felt like, I kind of feel like I'm playing guitar. When I played DJ Hero, I did not feel like I was a DJ at any point. But it was fun. The entire, like, the mechanics, the actual playing on the plastic instrument was fun. And that was primarily because, it's an interesting way to interact with the game, actually spinning the...
Because it was essentially, it was just an elaborate version of Beatmania, but with music that was, like, custom made for the game.
That is what I love about it. Those mixes are so good. And they put time and effort getting actual DJs and art, musical artists, people with experience to create those instead of just taking the music and adding note track to it, which is essentially what, after Guitar Hero launched, people figured out you could hack it and put any song you wanted in there. And then random kids on the internet were making notation for the thing. It kind of demystified the entire Guitar Hero franchise for me, and same with Rock Band. Whereas this, it was like, if you want to do this, you have to put in time and work and make these mixes.
Yeah, because I did a feature once where I went there to the, I think it was Freestyle Games, to see how they put it together when they were working on the second game, and the amount of work that goes into making a single track. I mean, they've got like a guy there who just is there to do the scratching. He's like a scratch turntable expert, so they've got him just to make.
So I feel this one's going to go down to a vote, and I feel like you need to persuade me because I'm totally on the fence. We didn't put any Guitar Hero game in. I mean, I credit that one more down to the fact that was a series that was spawned on PS2 and kind of evolved and was perfected in the in what's the name of the other series? My mind is blank.
Rock Band.
In the Rock Band series. So I'm on the fence with this one.
I think based on creativity and how unique it came out, I think if this had come out earlier in the or even like as it came out when the guitar franchise and the plastic instrument franchise was essentially dead. Yeah. Like they were just eking out whatever blood was left in the stone. This came out at a very, very bad time, but it was so good. If it had been earlier, I think it would have been like rejuvenating for that genre. It was just unfortunate. And based on like the amount of effort and the thoughtfulness put into it, I think it's an important game.
But you're telling me why it's on the shortlist. There's not many games that made this shortlist. If you put your ruthless hat on, is this going to be in your personal top 20 of the generation?
Yes.
Top 20.
Yeah.
Yes. I bet if you went through this list,
I'm putting
20 games.
I think music games are a defining part of this generation. And if I'm putting one music game in, it's not going to be the two music games that were essentially based off a concept born on previous generation. It's going to be the one that took it and moved it forward in a massive way. Drums is kind of like, okay, we've had drums and music games combined in certain capacities through arcades and, Donkey Kong, what's it called, Jungle Beat or whatever it's called. But no one's ever done a proper DJ good game.
I mean, I appreciate what you're saying. I appreciate how unique it is, but I don't think it did move the genre forward in a meaningful way.
I think it did.
Let's put it this way. Let's go down to a vote. I think I'm out. So it's Rob Crossley you need to persuade.
Crossley will abstain because he hasn't played the game.
Oh, right. So it's a complete
I think
it's also
you play
more,
it, Chris?
Oh, I played it constantly for months. I've got the soundtrack. I've still listened to the soundtrack.
So it's down to you three, right?
Yeah, it's down to us three, and so Chris,
you have the deciding vote.
Oh, without a doubt, I still listen to the soundtrack almost on a daily basis.
On my
you listen to the sound. The soundtrack's great.
I tweeted a picture the other day. I tweeted a picture the other day of my current gaming setup.
Yeah,
and it's got the Xbox One,
we've established 4, that you play it. But does anyone else?
Wii U, and next to it, a DJ Hero deck.
I'm on my third set of decks. Because
awesome.
I'm on my third as well.
Passionate defense. Properly articulated.
That's what I love about it. Like you can still play that game and it will surprise you every time. It's like it's still kind of it's fun. Plus the mixes will keep you.
There's
on your
no other game this generation that has a button specifically that you can press and it goes whenever you want. And for that reason alone.
Based on that alone.
Come on, let's put it through. Come on, move on.
Yes, it's in more games should have Flavor Flav buttons.
Yep. Next up, Resistance, the series. That's 1, 2, and 3.
I mean, we all agree the third's the best, right?
Yeah.
A bit more Halo-esque.
I think the first two are overrated.
Yeah.
And uninteresting in almost every way.
Especially the first one.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's launch. It got the benefit of being a launch game.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know if
the second one just dropped the ball entirely, and I think even Insomniac would admit that. they tried to get it out too soon, I think, which is why the third one you see kind of the result of.
So Resistance 3 is the best of the bunch, but does it stand against any of the shooters that we've put through?
I think it's moved on now.
It's going to be forgotten so fast.
I don't think it's a definitive shooter series of the generation.
Nope. It's out.
That's an opinion. It's certainly not hard to resist.
Just such amazingly terrible puns.
It's the timing that does it.
I'm so close to leaving.
Next up, Flower.
I love Flower.
I love Flower as well.
Yeah, it's nice.
Personally, I think we've gone through a lot of games and we've decided not to put them through that are of a far higher standard than Flower.
So just for clarification, Rob Crossley doesn't like Journey.
That's not true.
If that game company made it, then
that's
Rob
not
Crossley
true.
scratches it out.
There's a running joke. There's a running joke in the office that
his head the entire time.
There's a running joke in the office that I don't like.
You can't headshot anyone in Flower, so
there's a running joke in the office that I don't like.
There's no explosions. Got no guns in it.
There's a running joke in the office that I don't like Flower or Journey, and it's not true. I do like them. I just think they're a little bit.
You just can't headshot anyone in them. So
yeah, exactly. It's not that.
You don't even get any XP.
Like, when do I start a fire? When would these burn?
I once mentioned Journey just in passing. It wasn't even a game. It was just the band.
Had a bad journey.
And Rob was sick into a bin. just because I said the word Journey.
Rob Crossley, we once rejected a Rob Crossley feature where he was angry that you don't actually play as a flower, you play as some petals.
It should be called wind, because you're essentially the wind.
So that's the game. You're a wind, you blow around petals, but is it one of the games of the generation?
I mean,
I think it
showed tech
that
demo, to
it
be
showed
fair.
that an enjoyable glorified tech demo.
Yeah, I know, but
that's an easy way to dismiss it. It showed that games can be abstract,
different,
and also
it's
be
not
successful.
Very abstract. It's not very abstract. It's not more abstract.
You
than
are
Res.
the wind in it, Rob.
That's not abstract. That's literal, really.
The test is if someone buys a PS3 and they ask you what download games to get, Flower is one of the few that you'll mention.
My girlfriend played through all of that game as well.
Yeah. Because it's you'll say you should try Flower because it's something different. Yeah, if you're recommending games for someone, you'll mention it.
Yeah, I loved it because it was just like such a surprise to me. I didn't expect to like it at all. I thought it was one of those really pretentious artsy,
absolutely,
and it very much is. But it's like you sit down and it's just such a calming, enjoyable experience.
I don't think it is pretentious. I think if Jonathan Blow did it, you'd stop every 30 minutes to have like a book passage read to you. But it's not. True, actually. It just lets you get on with it.
Yeah.
There is no, narrative chucked in your face, but yet there is a narrative there.
Yeah,
it's a very beautiful game as well.
Yeah, I remember when it first came into the office when PSW was still here. I was sitting at O&M and was kind of out of the loop a bit, and it turned up and they were sitting playing it, and I just stopped and I looked over and saw it and went, and I just sat there for half an hour.
I don't think it's an office game.
No, it's not. But just watching it being played, I just sat there for half an hour, not actually doing anything.
I bet before that, everyone else absolutely rinsed them for playing their Flower game.
What is this? Flowers.
that was just Rob Crossley. Where's your gun?
In all honesty, I really am glad there are games like this out there, and I really wanted to like it. I wanted to like it so much, but I just felt like it was quite an empty game. There wasn't many gameplay elements.
There's no co-op or multiplayer either.
There's no drop in, drop out co-op. No, it's just
the petals don't betray each other or anything.
Do you know what? The thing is, I think if I wanted to look at beautiful landscapes, I probably would watch a film or read a book, and I just think I was quite bored.
No, you wouldn't.
I would.
I established there's very little you consume in life. Like games, I haven't played most of those.
No,
if we did a best books of all time, you'd be like, I haven't read that. That is right. Like, this is now a personal attack to Tamoor Hussain. I don't know what the hell you think you're doing.
If you want to see a beautiful landscape, you'd read a book.
Yeah, to imagine it. Yeah,
just imagine it.
To imagine it. Yeah, to drink in the details.
But they're on the screen, Rob. It looks really nice.
No, because the things you can imagine are far more beautiful than things you can see. I sound like Genova Chen right now, and I still don't like the game.
Years from now, he's going to be making like a Flower sequel or something.
Tulips.
Back to basics. I just thought it was a little bit dull, is what I'm saying. I just thought you had to move around a space, and that was it. I didn't find it very thrilling or interesting.
So you'll not be playing it on PS4 then?
So it's definitely one of the most memorable games of this generation, but is it one of the greatest?
I think it is, because I think it kick-started that whole thing. I don't think Flow did it.
Flow
was particularly fun. That was a tech demo.
Yeah.
Flower was a beautiful game, which showed to me that you could think outside the box and you could present something a bit different and it could be successful within the mainstream.
I agree
Flower
with that.
was a successful game. And I also love, and everyone will agree with this, I love that Sony, greenlight those sorts of projects.
Yeah, that's really awesome of them. Yeah.
So it goes through.
For me, it gets my vote. If we go down to a vote.
It gets my vote.
It's 3-1, so it has to go through.
Yeah.
Suck it, Crossley.
Look, I like the studio. I'm happy. Like, I don't have any problem, Tamoor.
Next up, Dead Rising.
Rob Crossley calls it that game company.
That game company.
That lame company.
Right. I like the studio. I don't know what this is all about. I really don't.
Dead Rising 1, 2, and Case 0.
Well, I my feeling on Dead Rising. I know you absolutely disagree, but Dead Rising just made me pull my hair out. For the same reasons a lot of people don't get into it. That bloody save system. I remember, like right where we are now on like Xbox One and PS4, any sort of original, made for next gen title that comes out in 6 months, you're going to want to play it just because there's going to be a lack of software within reason, and certainly games that you feel that are designed for the platform rather than just ported over for launch or whatever. And that was one of the first on 360, and I really wanted to enjoy it. It's great, it just screamed fun at you.
It was released in a vacuum where there was nothing else.
And it's a game that screamed fun, in a shopping mall with all these zombies, and I really wanted to get into it. I must have tried to play that game 10 times, and I'm basically telling everyone, I'm either telling everyone I'm a massive noob or pointing out the massive flaw that everyone else hated. And I had that problem where with its save system, because you can't save until about, I might be exaggerating, like an hour in. And you have to so even getting to the save point is a bit of trouble. And I don't think I ever did. I think you have to beat a boss and then a couple of mini bosses, and there's no learning curve before you actually get to a proper save point. And when you die, you have 2 options, don't you? Which is, restart. I think it was quit or save and continue.
Both of them.
Which one would you choose?
Well, I guess I'd have to save and continue.
Yeah, that means save your high score and start again.
It means save.
No.
And quit. It means carry on.
It means save. Quit means quit out. Forget everything. Save and quit means you save your character's progress. This is the zombie apocalypse. You don't just once you're dead, you're dead. That's what it is.
Unless you get to that save point.
But the thing is,
I played the first hour of that game.
You keep your experience and your levels and your skills, and you spawn again as a new character.
Yeah, it's as fun as it sounds. I played the first hour of that game at least 7 times, trying to just have some fun.
Yeah.
So I felt like I felt like I turned up at a nightclub in my trainers and I wasn't allowed in.
Right.
The game looked fun. I knew it was really fun, and I wanted to join in, but no, sorry, mate.
It's got some great moments. I like how you can choose your own weapon and sort of.
It's funny that
you can be inventive with attacking.
In the sequels, there was a lot of controversy about the sequels not having that functionality, and fans were absolutely livid that it didn't have that.
Well, it's like the guys who moan about Mass Effect 2, not having to clear out your inventory every 2 minutes.
No. I don't think so. I think what this is it's more core to the experience. It's like having that challenge. It reminds me in a way, it was Dark Souls before Dark Souls.
No, but Dark Souls does it better.
Yeah,
because
it does
when
it
I
better,
die in Dark Souls, I start at the last checkpoint they put me at.
Undoubtedly.
Not start the game again from the start menu. That's
Dark
bullshit.
Souls does it better, but this was like the first game where, not first game, but very quickly, I made the same mistake. I was butthurt about it for about an hour, and then I realized I just need to be very, very, very methodical and careful in the way I play. And it just changed the experience for me. I was very careful, and it kind of was like, it amped up the kind of tension in the game. Because it's a very comical game. You're in this area, you've got all these weapons, you're sticking serve-bot heads on zombies and then kicking them in the face.
Starting the game again is not comical.
But this element of it was like, it was tense. It brought that tension to the scenario, like the
I
zombie
hope any
scenario.
game designers listening would say that that's not my problem. That's the game's problem.
What do you mean that's the game?
It should have given me a save point straight away and made it clear.
It should have made it easy for you, basically.
Save points aside.
You set up a
it's not about
concept. There's
easy,
a difference between accessibility and the game being difficult. That there's nothing fun for anyone about that concept than having to watch like the intro cutscene again and go through the tutorial again.
This isn't about challenging the audience. This is about giving them a comfy chair to sit on.
But if you don't
have good checkpoints,
there's such a thing as learning curve, right?
One of the reasons, the save points aside, once that annoyance is out of the way, I just don't like the constant timer. The constant urge to come on, get a move on. No, but it's the fact that this is a game. This is a game that almost celebrates the fact that you're free to do whatever you want and go wherever you want. So I want to just drive about in a lawnmower.
It's fair to say that feature is quite divisive.
Get a move on.
Yeah, that feature is divisive.
But then, then when the second one came, they kind of ditched that a bit. But by that point, the novelty was gone, and it's like, right, okay, but I wanted to do that in the mall, and now it's kind of.
I also think it ruined the atmosphere. I like the idea of being stuck in a mall with a bunch of zombies.
Yeah, so did I.
I thought that could really work, but instead I was just looking at timers.
Obviously, I only saw the lobby.
It's like when you were young. It's like when you were young and you went on a bouncy castle, and then after 5 minutes you had to get off or something. I was just like, well, no, I want to spend.
The thing is, like, for me, it played into it. Like, you had to make decisions. Do I try and save this guy, or do I try and do this activity, or do that? It was like you're on a timer because obviously, you know, there's you need to get out of there. Frank needs to get out before I think it was the whole place is bombed or whatever. But you want to make it out, and
always, isn't it?
Yeah, you want to make it out with enough information on what's going on to spread it to the media because you're a journalist, you know.
Yeah.
And you go there and you have to make these decisions, and the timer forces you to play in a very specific type of way. And I love that about it. It was challenging. At the same time, you had to be very methodical in what you do, how you approach it. But I think that's beyond the point. I think we're fixated on this one point, which even I'm willing to agree is a bit shaky. But what it presented otherwise, I don't think we've explained everything outside of that.
I think we've cross-examined it in a few ways. We think the timer system is bad. We think the atmosphere is poor. We think the checkpointing.
I don't think the atmosphere is.
No, but we do. And then we think the checkpointing isn't very well structured. I think there's a lot of elements to this that we don't really like.
We didn't cover the freedom it offers.
I think we should go to
the fun that you can get out of it. If you want to go to a vote, it's fairly obvious.
We could talk about Dead Rising for the next 10 minutes if you want, but we have many, many more games on the list. Let's go to a vote, and I'm going to abstain because obviously I didn't get past the first hour.
You know what? I think it's a really good game. As much as I've been disagreeing with you, Tamoor, I actually do think it's a good game. I'm going to veer to no, only because I think it had great potential but didn't quite match it.
Regrettably, I'm also going to say no. Much as I enjoyed it, there were so many frustrations.
It nearly made it in, didn't it? It nearly made it in the shortlist.
Bionic Commando Rearmed.
Oh, Tamoor.
I'm not bothered about Bionic Commando Rearmed.
I played it,
man.
I didn't play though, so I didn't play it enough.
You should have saved this one for your wild card, mate.
I'm abstaining. So I'm not.
I played it for 30 minutes. I thought it was really boring.
Here we go.
So I'm
I played for 30 minutes. Couldn't jump.
I enjoyed it. It's like the Mega Man, right? It's deliciously old school.
Yeah.
Deliciously unforgiving.
Yeah.
I mean,
as much as I'm having a go,
I don't even know how it got on this long list.
I think it's an awesome game. I think the music in particular is outstanding. Awesome, yeah. Like Simon Viklin is the composer of that. Find that soundtrack on YouTube and listen to it. It is one of the best soundtracks of this generation. But I think as a game, I don't know if it's one of the best of the generation. It's a fun game. If you like old school games, platformers, arcade games, play it. But I don't know about it.
So what if Tamoor's saying no and he's kind of...
He's championing it.
Listen, we are moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to music.
Crysis 1 to 3.
Can we save time and agree Crysis 1 is the best one?
Yeah, Crysis 1 is the best one.
Yeah?
Crysis 2, they console-ified it.
Yeah, and that was all about just changing the engine, really.
Yeah, it's
the problem with
linear
Crysis 1
and
was
it just lost the whole... I mean, you only have to play Far Cry 3 to see where that went wrong.
Yeah.
The first one is the best.
The third one was kind of an apology letter to the people who loved the first one. But the first one, man...
Amazing.
My God, what a game.
It still looks amazing as well.
It still looks amazing. You know, in 2008 it was released, wasn't it? I basically built a PC for spec for
so did
Crysis.
I,
Yeah. still can run anything.
The thing is, though, without the visuals and without the beautiful environment.
Agreed.
The second half of the game just drops the ball massively as soon as the aliens turn up.
Yeah, as soon as the aliens turn up.
And the thing is,
funny how you say that about the original Far Cry as well.
Yeah,
and also
Perfect Dark, in fact. Like, as soon as aliens turn up, it's a bit boring.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but this list is console games as opposed to PC games. So was the console version of Crysis any cop?
Oh, we can't include it.
Because it was released. It was released
a version of Crysis on console, wasn't
it? No, it was released digitally on 360.
Oh, there was, yeah.
Yeah, so technically...
No, but are we considering the
it looks like us.
Well, if we're not counting handhelds, then we shouldn't be counting PC.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So that means none of them get in.
Oh.
That's a shame.
I apologise for dropping that.
We have to stick to the rules.
Truth bomb is what it is.
A crisis of conscience. Well, that doesn't even make sense.
Well, I'm certainly not going to put 2 or 3 through.
So we're out then.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't. I just don't think 2 or 3 are good.
Not on consoles now.
But honestly, everyone just play Crysis 1. Hella game.
On PC.
Hella game.
Hella game.
It certainly is a
Wordsmith.
It's very
Next
game.
is Viva Pinata 1 and 2.
What an underrated game.
Yeah, beautiful.
I would kill for a Viva Pinata right now on Xbox
I know,
One.
I just get the feeling that we're not going to get one.
It's never happening.
Why didn't they, that
sold
Zoo
about 3
Tycoon, they could
copies.
have easily have done this. I mean, it's a very British game anyway. I mean, they're a British studio, Frontier.
Put pistachios everywhere and we're done.
Wasn't it released on the DS as well?
Well, they did a DS
DS
version, but Rare used to dabble in handheld games even when they were under Microsoft, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, Microsoft bet big on it. I mean, there was a TV series as well around it. They wanted it to be their Pokemon. Yeah. That was the idea when they brought in Rare. And spanning from the original Xbox, the whole point is they thought they had to go and get this family audience and have these types of games. And then Halo, the success of the original Halo really just killed that. Yeah. And they went another direction.
I feel really sorry for them because when you look at the success of games like the Activision trading game, what's it called? Skylanders. You get to see how close Rare and Microsoft were to cracking that market.
If only they'd put toys in it.
Or Moshi Monsters, for example.
Yeah.
These cute, awesome little characters. I mean, it's just massive franchises.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I think Viva Pinata is still a beautiful game. I think it's still very attractive.
Yeah, it is.
And I just had a great time playing it. I can't remember too much about it now, but I think it's a real contender.
Agreed.
Next up,
what we doing?
I think.
Are we counting it? Or?
Tamoor, are you listening?
I am listening. I am listening, but I don't know.
I mean, I really love.
Sorry, everyone. If Tamoor thinks a game shouldn't go through,
I'm sour.
I think we should put it through, and especially if only to give a nod to Rare of old.
Yeah, I think it should go through. I think it was probably Rare's best game in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it was probably the last rare game.
Stop.
Easy for me.
Which is a rarity these days.
Okay, so the first one then.
Lost so many listeners now.
Viva Pinata 1.
Yeah, Viva Pinata 1.
First one, yeah.
Sorry, Tamoor, it does go through.
Battlefield 3 and 4.
Again, it comes back to the Crysis thing. Those are games you play on PC, not on current gen machines.
And the last genuinely good Battlefield game was Bad Company 2. I don't think 3 and 4.
The destruction was better, right?
If we're counting console games only here, the Battlefield franchise was at its best.
I think both single player campaigns on both of them are not particularly good. So you play for the multiplayer. 4 at the moment, the multiplayer is still really buggy. So I wouldn't recommend it at this stage over 3. I still think these are games that you play on a PC to appreciate them at their fullest. I don't think they define this generation.
No, they're evolutions of a genre that.
I think Battlefield 3 was it was planting the seeds of what will be the definitive Battlefield games to come on the new consoles.
Yeah.
I don't think personally either of them are a definitive game on the last machines.
I agree with that.
Agreed.
No one else want to talk about Battlefield a bit?
No.
So I'm just going to be the one who dismissed it.
I love the multiplayer experience, but I don't love it on consoles in any way.
Yeah. Like, I've had more fun with Call of Duty this generation than I have Battlefield.
Oh, undoubtedly,
Yeah.
That was that.
That was
like there's multiplayer parts of multiplayer that I prefer in Battlefield.
Oh, absolutely.
But
when you first played Call of Duty
on a fun
4,
factor, Call of Duty wins it. Yeah, over the two. We are going to get flamed so badly for saying that.
I just don't. We are. And Battlefield is an amazing game, but I think we're talking about PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and Wii.
Yeah.
I think Battlefield is a game you play on PC.
Yeah. Probably better than
you play it for the.
Whoa! I'm only playing.
You play it for the player count and the visuals,
games
right?
Comes along.
Sorry.
You play it for the spectacle. You play it for the player count. You play it for the visuals. Yeah. I think the fourth game at the moment you scratch off completely because it's still a bit of a mess.
It's a next-gen game as well, and it's a bit of a mess on next-gen consoles.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess on all platforms at the moment.
Oh, really?
And the third game, I think the same reason we've dismissed Crysis, we should dismiss that because it's not the definitive version. And I think the third was just planting the seeds of what Battlefield will become. I think the next instalments going forward on the new consoles, you'll start to see it become something really, really special.
Do you regret that they don't concentrate enough on the single player? Do you understand, or do you want?
No, I feel like it's a box to check. I mean, does anyone really? I mean, I'd love to see the statistics of people who play the campaign. I just think it's a thing that there are certain customers that they'd lose if they couldn't, just play it offline on their own for a bit, rather than people are buying it for that.
See, I'm at a bit of an evolutionary dead end in that I don't play multiplayer games.
Yeah, I'm the same.
But I only like playing single player games.
Yeah.
And so that franchise has never really appealed to me for that very reason.
Yeah, I'm the same.
So Battlefield is off.
Yep.
It's off.
Bye-bye.
Next two games together, Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5.
Well, I think most people agree that 5 wipes the floor with 4, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but can you dismiss 4?
I think that's the most important question.
It is one of the most
overrated games.
Careful. I agree with that. I agree with that. But that does. We don't want to minimize the impact it had on games. It was overall, and
up-res GTA 3.
Now you're just talking crazy.
No.
It was an up-res GTA 3.
Are you mad? Everything it did there. Yeah.
I think it scaled everything back.
It wasn't up-res. That's a PS2 game.
Yeah, it scaled everything back in terms of what you can do. It kind of kept to the same formula, apart from this time it built a pretty city. I mean, I don't think there was much more to it than that. If you could explain,
I think people can only say in hindsight that they're disappointed by these aspects.
I don't know what's in GTA 4 that we haven't had before in other GTA games, and I don't know what.
The
all-conquering
None
new
of them
feature.
had Roman in it, so.
Yeah, Roman's a cool guy. I really like
Brucey.
Roman. I just think I was just a bit disappointed that it's quite a boring game ultimately. I agree with that.
That's the point. Actually, did we include the expansions or?
The expansions were better.
Yeah.
Because Lost and Damned,
especially Gay Tony. The Gay Tony was just a bit more sandbox-esque, isn't it?
Yeah, it felt more like the older games.
I don't know. It's a bit of a difficult. It's difficult to get excited about GTA 4 now that GTA 5 is fresh in our minds, because GTA 5 is kind of what the fans all wanted. They wanted next gen San Andreas, please. Whereas for 4, Rockstar wanted to tell something a bit more. Wanted to laser focus on these certain characters and this certain city. So she say. I don't want to say the scale was pulled back, because that game, when it came out, was just absolutely incredible for its scope. Yeah. But obviously the map wasn't quite as, was nowhere near as big as San Andreas.
What I think really works in GTA 5 is, even though the map is huge, you can get around the place very quickly, even in a car, because it's so well connected. With GTA 4, you had 3 islands, and they were all sort of segregated or bisected by different bridges, some of which had toll booths. I mean, some of this stuff was like the ungamification, you know what I mean? It was like there were elements to it that were annoying, like real life. Like you had to pay a toll booth to get through without getting 1 star. Just things like that. And I found it
Rob couldn't outrun a 1-star wanted rating.
Yeah.
One guy in a cop car.
Oh shit! It's the 5-0. On my 1 star.
It's a 5-0.
You're littering, sir. You're littering. Oh, you'll never take me alive.
Yeah. Enter sheep. Tank. Spawn tank.
Wasted.
I thought, like, I think the reason why people were drawn to it was because it was such an amazing, beautiful recreation of New York, and I think it is. And I got into a taxi and looked around in first person because it did look that good.
Yeah,
but I didn't think it was very fun.
I agree with the fact that it was impressive as an open world, and it offered an interesting, really fun sandbox online to play in for multiplayer. But in terms of character, I thought of Nico was pretty awful. He was annoying and inconsistent.
I think we need to come to a decision, because I think the only reason we're saying this is because Rockstar has surpassed its own game 2 or 3 times. Red Dead, especially, and GTA 5 make GTA 4 look pretty embarrassing. So that's why we can be critical of it now. But I think we'd all agree it's 110% a game that defined the generation. It's one of the best-selling games of all time as well. But what are we choosing these games? What criteria are we measuring on? Because obviously that game's surpassed, and we don't sound too enthusiastic about it anymore.
It is a weird one. It is the sort of thing, if some people were listing their top 10 or top 20 games of this generation, some of them would list both games. It's just that 4 would be further down the list. 4 would be in the top 20, whereas 5 would probably be in the top 5.
But you'd never recommend it now, would you?
No.
Now that 5's out.
Not over 5.
And Red Dead as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Red Dead's through, right?
Red Dead is through,
I think...
So we're going to make the difficult decision
we got to put 4
and keep
through.
5.
Yeah, we
have
put 5
because
through
5 just surpasses it. So I don't think
Yeah.
you can play both anymore.
No.
4 goes out.
I would like to go on about 5, but I think it would be a bit of a giveaway. How
Go
I
on
feel
about
about
it,
that
mate.
game.
Rob Crossley didn't actually play that for 30 minutes and give up. Haven't you
No.
come
For
to
at least 40 minutes.
I spent 120 hours
Wow.
on GTA 5.
He still doesn't like it.
Yeah, then I gave up.
It's my favourite GTA, easily 5. Easily.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
what a sensational game.
Oh, I see.
It's the closest open world game has come to perfection. It's not quite perfect, but it's as close to perfection.
One of the things I love about GTA 5 is that, sorry, I am going on about it a little bit, just really quickly, Rockstar's never done this before, but it's beautiful, and it is literally beautiful from all angles. So any part of the world you're in, anywhere you're looking, what you'll be looking at is something that's been really well drawn, really well designed. Like, Blaine County was gorgeous for so many different reasons. Then the city was gorgeous, and the sea is gorgeous, and the sky is gorgeous, and the horizon is. And sorry, I am going on about this, but I just think just play it. It's really good.
So 5 goes through, right?
5 goes through. Next up is Bulletstorm.
I lost interest with. I'm doing a Rob Crossley here, but I get bored doing Bulletstorm after an hour or two. I know
It's a very
fun
shooter. It came out when people were complaining left, right, and centre that shooters were stale and boring.
It came out at a time when the medium-sized games were being left behind in the market.
And it introduced some... it was purely based around fun. It caught some flack for being a bit too...
dude bro?
Yeah, dude bro-y. But it leaned into that so far that it was kind of endearing at times.
You're right, yeah.
But I don't think it's... as much fun as I had with it, I don't think it's one of the defining games of this generation. I don't think it's one of the best games of this generation.
Again, it's another one that we acknowledge by putting on our shortlist, right?
You were there, you were decent.
Yeah.
But you're out.
Sleep well, sweet prince.
Saints Row, the series 1 to 3.
I think we can ditch 1.
I thought I hated 1.
Yeah.
I hated 2. The third was amazing.
Yeah.
It was an excellent game.
I think it's even underrated. I don't think it's underrated from the gamer's point of view. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that buy it and love it, but it doesn't get enough credit that you deserve.
Yeah. Interesting that I don't know many media people that talk about GTA, talk about Saints Row the Third being better than GTA 4. But I know a lot of people personally in my life who say
it's more fun.
Saints Row is much more fun than GTA.
You know what?
100%.
A lot of people said that about 1 and 2 as well.
Oh, really?
I mean, they would have been in a bigger minority.
The thing with 1 and 2 was it still tried to be GTA. That was the problem.
Yeah.
And it missed the mark.
By 2, they gave it up a little bit.
Yeah, by 2 you could see
they were loosening their grip.
You
by
could see
2.
you could see in 2 they were setting the foundation for like they
by
let
2,
you
set
dress up like
they were going to be the fun one.
Yeah, they let you dress up like a really bizarre looking character, but they could see the humour starting, and obviously by the 3rd one they just thought, well, those were the bits people liked best in 2. Let's just go mental with the 3rd one. You could tell
the 3rd was so good thematically. The story was so dumb. The characters were amazing. The story was so dumb but awesome, and it had some of the best moments in gaming this generation.
Wow.
You know what? But if we're on like 50 games now, like the 50 best games of the generation now. I think it's definitely in the top 50.
The third is.
What about the fourth one?
The fourth doesn't quite capture it. It
the fourth is it is what it is, and that's a DLC pack which they quickly turned into a full release.
Yeah. And it struggles. Like my performance, it overreaches. Like it tries to do. It is Crackdown essentially. It's got superpowers. You can leap across buildings, but it struggles. It struggles to keep up with it.
I thought it was everywhere. I didn't.
Well, that's what it's like from conception, right? It's a game that when THQ were going down the toilet, they quickly turned this expansion pack into a full game to get one out. I mean, obviously, it's the most successful property. Sadly, by the time it did come out, they were gone. But it's Deep Silver now, isn't it?
Yeah, Deep Silver.
Who are left with it.
Own it. Yeah.
I think the third should go through.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool.
So
let's move on.
Chris, mark that down.
I've done.
Cool. Next up is Sleeping Dogs.
You love Sleeping Dogs.
Oh, Sleeping Dogs. So underrated. Wow. So underrated. Really? It's like, I don't think it's not going to go through.
No. Do you know what? I think if the third goes through, Sleeping Dogs goes through. I think it's one of the best open world games of the generation. Definitely.
I agree with that. I think it's one of those underdog stories that I love as well. It's just
I tell this story all the time. I was the last journalist to see the game before Activision canned it.
Yeah.
And these guys were like, they'd just gone alpha that morning, I think, and they was like sleeping under their desks and stuff, and they still like dragged themselves out to come and show us dirty journalists, their game and stuff. It was excellent. It looks excellent at the time. Yeah. And then a couple of weeks later, by the time I got back and written up all my stuff, it was canned.
It was canned in pretty vile language as well.
Yeah, and I was really because the game
didn't meet their standards.
They said it.
No, that was unfair because you could see it was good even then. It was feature complete, Yeah. The game looked excellent. It looks a bit. I mean, you could maybe have some. Maybe you would raise questions about whether it was going to sell, and it certainly wasn't going to sell to the levels that Activision was used to.
Yeah. Well, they were putting it up against other open world games all the time, like GTA and stuff. They said it's not going to meet that kind of quality, which is mad. Nothing will reach that.
I remember even when I saw the game, and this was perhaps even I think when they canned it was maybe even a year before, maybe more than when it actually came out. And I remember people asking me back in the office, like, what's it like? And I said it's a sort of game that when it comes out, all the comments in the review, or in all the comments for the next GTA, I predicted they would be stuff like, I really wish it had this feature from Sleeping Dogs. I really wish it had this feature from Sleeping Dogs.
What was it called back then? True Crime?
True Crime Hong Kong, was it?
Yeah, something like that.
They knew... They kind of picked the features that were going to define their game.
Yeah.
And they nailed down on them. Like they had like ex-Need for Speed guys working on the driving. And obviously they nailed down on the kind of the hand-to-hand combat and stuff like that.
That's what
when you think about how much Square Enix has like ruined things for itself over the past few years, you would say that Sleeping Dogs is probably its finest hour.
Yeah. I think
picking up a dormant IP, turning it into a blockbuster.
It doesn't give itself enough credit. Square Enix doesn't give itself enough credit for what it did with
Saints Row and Crackdown go through, so does that.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
It's such a good focused game. I love that it focuses on these certain things, like Andy said, and it does it so well. But it still has a really fun, interesting world around it. And I think it's one of the few open world games that tells a really good written story, like not one of these emergent stories. It's kind of, it's essentially Infernal Affairs or The Departed or whatever, but it just does it really well. It's got interesting characters, but it still has stuff like the quirky stuff in their world, like the pork bun guy or whatever like that. It's so good.
So we're going to let Sleeping Dogs by? Oh, you having it?
See, I go full circle with you, Chris.
That's strike two.
Come on.
I find your puns irritating, but now I've gone full circle, and I kind of.
See, what's going to happen is about 4 inches from now, he's going to send out a blinder, and it's going to be amazing. He's going to rejuvenate.
I'm saving one.
You're saving
He's looking down the list.
I know.
Right,
next game is Metro Last Light. I think that is one of the best first-person shooters released this generation.
Jesus. I haven't played
That's
it.
the sequel, right? Last Light's the sequel.
Last Light, 2033
is... the original, you're talking about Last Light?
You know what? I'm talking about 2033, the original. I think Last Light was excellent, but it traded on a lot of what the original did.
You played last night on your PC, or
Yeah.
How powerful is your PC?
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it must be like.
And it runs it nicely as well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
But we're not talking about PC.
We're not talking about it. I think the original Metro 2033, I think it's called. Yeah, that is an important game. I don't know if it's a really good first-person shooter. This is, again, it's one of those shooters that came out at a time when everyone's doing military shooters. This was an Eastern European, set in the underground of, Russia or whatever it is. I've forgotten most of it now.
Russia or wherever it is.
Yeah, it's one of those.
It's in metros,
one of those weird ones.
Such an interesting concept. It's it's so unique, and it came out at a time when everyone was doing military shooters with dude bros, and it was all about atmosphere, and it was kind of quirky in its mechanics. You couldn't breathe above ground unless you had a gas mask with filters, and you had to keep swapping them out, and it had this interesting tension where you'd run out of filters and just blindly run around into any building nearby desperately looking for filters while you've got these mutants chasing you.
I've got to ask.
Fun story.
I've got to ask, does the console version fare up? I mean, is it as good as the PC version?
I'm not going to lie. I played it on PC. But
I know
I've heard.
Can we void his opinion?
No. I have heard nothing but good things about the console version.
I've heard loads of great things about the PC version.
I haven't
heard anyone talk about the console
I can't recall a review where it said the console version is dog shit. You need to play the PC one.
Well, fair enough.
I think it stands.
Fair enough.
I want it to go through.
I haven't played it. I can't comment.
I really should get around to playing it, but I haven't.
It's going through based on the fact that no one can stand.
It's another one I'm on the fence.
Have you played it?
Yeah. It's for no fault of my, the games. I just couldn't get into it. It's very, very slow though, isn't it? But that's the point of it.
Yeah, that's the point of it. There's this one moment.
Because I'm someone who really much needs the game to entertain me. I don't want to go searching for it.
There's this one moment that I think is one of my most memorable moments in gaming of this generation. There's an enemy. I think it's called the Librarian. It's this massive hulking monster where you walk into the room and you very quickly realize it will chase you down the moment you break eye contact with it.
Throw books at you.
At the same time, it's terrifying to look at. It's horrible, and it kind of makes these really guttural sounds that make you want to spine chilling stuff. And you want to look away from it, but the moment you look away from it,
it's like a boomer from Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, that's not the sound. Boomers go.
Frog.
Oh, that's what.
That's exactly the noise they make. Yeah. I've been practicing this for ages, mate.
I thought of boomers from. Anyways, it's this awesome moment where you walk into this room, to this area, and it's filled with the things. So you need to very carefully make your way through.
So look at all of them.
Yeah, you got to look at one and then move yourself towards it. You can't see where you're going. That's the problem. So you've got to, if you want to see where you're going, you need to quickly break eye contact and quickly look back and make sure if he's moved in the time that you've looked, you're going to be under trouble. You need to run into an area, back yourself into a corner, and then quickly find out where he is and then look at him. But it doesn't always make it clear. It doesn't make it clear from the outset what's going on. You figure it out. You're like, oh shit, I need to look at this guy. So you come in there, and your first instinct is to either shoot this thing or run away from it. And that's exactly what will get you in trouble. So very naturally, you realize, wait, when I look at it, he stops moving and he kind of just carries on with what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, let's put it through.
I get the feeling that a lot of readers would agree with Tamoor as well.
Yeah.
I don't think many people who have played through it properly would.
I would probably get rid of every other first-person shooter on this thing. Maybe with the exception of...
Let's put it through.
A Call of Duty.
Let's put it through.
Sweet.
Well done. Wait, was it 4A Studios?
Yes, 4A Games.
Yeah, 4A Games.
After that, we have Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts.
I love that game.
So do I.
I know people that love it. I haven't played it.
It's probably not a game. Is it a game?
It's not a game.
Thing is, we put Viva Pinata through.
Viva Pinata is better, surely.
Yeah, I really loved Nuts and Bolts, and I know a lot of people do love it.
Yeah.
A lot of people are a bit angry that it wasn't a platform, but they tried to do something new with the concept. It was still a great game.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I don't think it's one of the games of the generation.
It'd
be on my personal favourites.
It's one of those games that if it has to click with you, if it doesn't click with you, you will, as in not enjoy. It's designed for a very specific type of person. The one that can hunt down all these collectibles. Firstly, you need to be that kind of person that's going to look for all these little bitty things, and then you want to sit there and put together these, machines and then send that and share it and that kind of thing.
I love Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah,
I only played it for an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
I was just bitter from start to finish that it wasn't when they first announced they're making a new Banjo-Kazooie. I probably lost my mind and then realised that it wasn't. So I've always been biased against it. So I'm going to step out.
I think it's a unique, quirky, really fun game, but not one of the games of this generation.
Yes. Let's move on.
Vanquish.
See, I think Vanquish is really overrated.
I think
overrated.
it is one of the most overrated.
Yeah,
games
like
titles.
it's not as good as Gears of War. I'm sorry.
It's not.
I know it looks interesting. I know
some
Shinji
people
Mikami's,
adore it.
I know Shinji Mikami's working on it, and I know it looks cool and stuff. But
I reviewed it, and even at the time, I thought this is getting a lot of attention for the way it looks.
Yeah, for the wrong reasons.
And I didn't enjoy it as much from a mechanical perspective.
But when I talk to people who love it, they say that it kind of challenged a lot of the conventions for that sort of genre. You know, having to hide behind a wall, like shooting over it.
Yeah, the thing is, it did both of those things. It did both of those things. It was there was times when the only way you could pass an area was by taking cover. But at the same time, in a very similar situation, in another part of the game, it will empower you with rocket legs that you can just... So it was hard to figure out what it wanted to be. So you could slide around in one situation, but in another situation, you try and do that and you're a dead man.
Yeah.
It was very, very
inconsistent.
The bosses were
fantastic.
The bosses were amazing. It looked nice. It felt great to move around that quickly. Like doing a rocket slide on your knees and just moving around so ridiculous. It was fun to do, but I felt like the shooting was a bit off and it was mechanically, it left me a little cold. You
can only do rocket slides, all those amazing particle effects. You can only do that so many times before you start going,
Yeah, that's what happened. I very quickly tired of that stuff.
Yeah.
By the time you get to that point, you finish the game, haven't you? It's like 5 hours long.
Well, I can't remember how long it was.
I don't think any of the kind of waves or the enemy colliding with enemies was interesting. They didn't have many interesting.
The AI
just
never
throw everything that we have at him constantly.
Yeah, the weapons were cool though.
You're gonna get some angry people disagreeing in comments, but
you know I'm
unanimous.
Like I'm a Platinum Games fan,
a great fan of Vanquish,
if
I gave it a good chance as well.
Yeah, Darksiders 1 and 2. Darksiders is one of the best Zelda games.
You're right. You're right.
I am a champion for Darksiders 1 is awesome. Darksiders 2 is better. I think those are really, really good games. Underrated games.
Yeah, they are good.
Everyone always says, what if Zelda was mature? What would happen if we took the Zelda and put it in this fantasy universe and made it all for grown-ups? This is what would happen.
Yeah.
It is awesome. I think you should go through.
So that's a remarkably bold statement, but nevertheless, it should go through.
And it had so much cool stuff in the design. It had portal guns in it. That alone is shoot portals, jump through things. Like the design was like old school Zelda design in dungeons, and it was like comic book. I think
the first was quite rough around the edges. I think you had to get through some crap to get to the good Zelda stuff.
The thing is, I would understand if you guys didn't put this through, because I feel like more so than probably a lot of games on this was a game that was pitched just for me, like it at me. It's like it was done by Joe Mad, who's a known comic book artist, very comic book-esque storyline, 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, that kind of thing. And it's, kind of rough around the edges in terms of gameplay and mechanics, but I still loved it. If you want to put up a fight...
Well, I want us to put it through because none of us dislike it. And
I wouldn't say I dislike it. It's just another one of those where I'm on the fence.
Fair enough.
I think it at the time. I think it did come out after Twilight, didn't it? And you didn't have much competition from Zelda at the time.
No.
But it was one of the best Zelda games of this generation. I think you had to get through some padding to get to that though. There were bits where you would be like, I mean, I'm sure in my memory, isn't there like turret sections and stuff? I'm sure you hold a minigun and
the beginning 2-3 hours
in an empty like barren arena.
Right.
Yeah, and the next minute you'll go, oh, this is really clever, and you'll be like solving puzzles and using cool items.
Yeah, the second one certainly starts better.
Yeah, the second one gets into the dungeons a lot quicker. That was the problem with the first one. It was like setting up the story quite a bit. It's like you need to see the Earth. War needs to do what he needs to do to get into the rest of it. So he needs to commit the crime that he's being tried for and all that stuff. And that's where it's kind of just like a straightforward third-person action game, hack and slash. But then after that, 2 or 3 hours, probably less than that it becomes the Zelda game with dungeons and all this kind of open world. And that's when it really shines.
I'm going to abstain because I'm completely on the fence with this.
I'm going to have to abstain as well because I haven't played it.
I don't doubt that it's not going to make it into... It'll probably get eliminated in the next stage.
But yeah, I don't mind that. I just
really
I like the idea that we can put through another game that THQ undersold.
Yeah.
I'm politically motivated.
I think if no one's going to challenge me, I'm not going to get
I won't be be angry if it goes through.
Everyone seemed to have fun with the game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. The first one or the second one?
The first one. Second one was great though. It introduced loot, which was awesome.
Moving on.
What a dude.
Yeah. After that, we've got Resident Evil 5 and 6.
Both of them can piss off.
I agree with that.
Resident Evil completely bottled it this
I think that series is now cursed. What do you do after Resident Evil 4? And I guess the answer isn't that.
Is make Resident Evil 4 again.
Yeah. I understand that a lot of people will say, and I'm just going to say it just to get our bases covered, Resident Evil 5 is misunderstood in a lot of ways. Like if you play in a certain way co-op, it can be a very fun game. Yeah, I know some
people that have had fun.
Very fun game. It's good in co-op.
But everything's fun in co-op.
That's also true.
Not fun in co-op.
That is very
true, but more
point.
so this is like in terms of design, it was actually designed
Tetris is good in co-op.
Yeah, so that means for the majority of people not playing with their mates, it's just a bit shit.
Yeah, I mean
that's what I'm saying. But we're just covering our bases.
It's not a good Resident Evil game.
I mean, in the past,
look at the prestige of that series.
I'll never forget. I imported Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 was one of those rare games you don't get these days when everything's hyped and exposed beyond belief.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 was one of those games that came out and the press reviewed it. I think I would have been out of industry at the time.
Yeah.
And it was like, this game is amazing, 10 out of 10. Bang, everyone import it. Well, it's one of a surprise hit.
Yeah.
I'll never forget playing Resident Evil 4 for the first time.
Yeah.
What a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Just amazing game.
The graphics at the time as well.
Graphics.
Look at the graphics.
I mean, I understand.
Dead Space utterly embarrasses both of this gen's Resident Evil games.
Yeah, agreed.
I understand Resi 5 is great in co-op, but Capcom in the past have done spin-offs to scratch their co-op, or like Outbreak was it or something?
Yeah, like that's right.
So I wish they'd done that instead of almost, I don't want to say ruining, but kind of making that one of the key games, one of the fifth game in the main series. Oh, by the way, you're only going to enjoy this most if you're playing with someone else. Well, I don't want it because Resident Evil is all about feeling isolated and being
you know what? For as polarized
exactly.
as the community is on these games as well, Dead Space 2 is a better Resident Evil game than both those two. And you know what?
Well,
maybe even Dead Space 3 is a better Resident Evil game.
What?
Well, then
it's
again,
a real shame.
I tell you what's better than 5 and 6 is Resident Evil Revelations.
Yeah.
It's
a real shame because Resident Evil 5 starts so well. The first opening segment, if I could
it's awesome.
If you can pick up that game for cheap, just for the opening segment, like if you get it for £1 or £2 on a Steam sale, just for that opening segment, it's amazing. You're just this, and it's all because it's racially charged. Like, I'm not even joking. You're Leon Kennedy, this giant butch white guy.
Man, his arms are so big.
Giant man mountain of muscle, and you're walking through this African village, and all you see
it's not Leon in 5.
Sorry, Chris Redfield. Yeah. So
he's the dude with the massive arms.
Yeah. And he punches a boulder in that game.
I bet the boulder runs off as well.
So you're walking through this village. Yeah. It's like third world African village. The entirety of the population, everyone in that village is black.
Well, we're not getting on to this.
No, but like everyone slowly turns towards you and starts looking at you, and they're very slowly. You know that the zombies are coming in soon, but it's like still at that point you're kind of on edge. Like, I'm not a white guy, but even I'm still like, I was like, oh, this is weird. And in the distance, you can see this group of people just like hitting something with a baseball bat with a nail on the end, and you're like, oh my god, what is happening here? And then you get closer, and it's just a sack, and you're like, freaking out. But they all turn towards you, and they're slowly like moving towards you. And
that sounds awesome.
Dear God! And then you just basically sprint towards the end. You're like, from there downhill.
It looks like we're not going to put Resident Evil 5 through.
No.
I mean, quite tellingly, we haven't even spoken about Resident Evil 6. And maybe we shouldn't.
Was because it's not worth it.
I know we are going to go on about it.
Absolute joke.
Should we just not?
No.
Let's just move on.
But I would like to doff my cap to Revelations and say people should play it. If
Revelations is the game you should play.
It's not worthy of the list, but it's better than 5 and 6.
Next, Killzone 2 and 3.
Well,
I know some
people say Killzone 2 is overrated, But I thought it was quite good, actually.
Not interested in this franchise. I think this is one of those franchises that gets the popularity it does purely because it's an exclusive and it's aligned with Sony.
It got people going.
Well, that's why I guess Killzone 2 would have been a 4 out of 10 game if it wasn't a first-party title. I mean, Sony would have seen the reaction to that game at their press conference, and they would have invested heavily into building Guerrilla and ensuring that game not only technically was an achievement, but was also a pretty fun game. I mean, let's not forget that the original Killzone, everyone forgets, was a bit shit.
It was very shit.
More than a bit shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, at best, it was a very average shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got by, I think.
The reaction of that fake PS3 demo, Killzone 2 one, is what made that franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah, that is.
And we still haven't reached that level of fidelity, by the way. It's now 2013, and I still don't think we've reached that level.
It does get better and better. I mean, Shadowfall, if we're crossing onto the next gen, that's the best Killzone game.
I mean, I've only played 2 Killzone games, Killzone 2 and Shadowfall, and I thought Shadowfall was really bad.
Best Killzone game is Killzone Liberation on PSP.
Yeah, that's a good game as well. Yeah.
And that's because it's a top-down strategy game.
But I get the impression we're not going to put Killzone 3.
I think that's a series.
I just get this is another one that the commenters are really going to disagree with. But
if we're really being honest with ourselves, it's getting by. Its popularity is entirely based on the fact that it looks good.
We put for a Halo game.
Yeah, but Halo
has an AI
meaningful.
System at least,
yeah, it's
like
interesting to play. I think Killzone's interesting thematically. As in, it looks really nice, aesthetics.
Yeah, but I mean,
those Hellghasts look cool. Yeah.
Halo goes through because it's got a campaign that people care about and a multiplayer that people care about. Whereas I don't hear anyone talking about Killzone multiplayer.
Yeah, I mean, I know there was loads of craziness around Killzone 2, but no one spoke about the game.
Killzone 3 is probably the best looking game of the whole gen, though.
That
is a beautiful game.
Last of Us, GTA 5?
Killzone looks better.
Technically, yeah. In technical,
There's no humans in it. So I don't know how ambitious. I mean, it's just got people with masks.
Yeah.
So I don't know how ambitious you can be.
Well, the majority of the game's got people with masks. There are humans in it.
Yeah, but exactly. But I'm talking from from a visual design perspective. It's much harder to design humans. Much harder.
Remember,
and it's kind of a get out to just put a mask on everything.
Killzone 2 launched, and there was a weird. I don't know if it's a bug or it's just designed really weird, where your character was strangely short for his size, so every character was like you look like you were talking to everyone's crotch the entire time. And I remember it really bugging me. Like Rico,
sold.
That's another thing. It's got some of the worst characters. Rico, one of the most unlikable characters in gaming. Yeah. He is bro alpha prime. Like you just want to kill him. I wanted to shoot him the entire time.
Shadowfall's the best one by far because it does away with some of that. It kind of rights some of the wrongs, and it's no longer the grey shooter with the characters you don't care about.
Killzone's out.
I think if we're making this a personal CVG vote, I don't have any strong feelings.
I don't have any strong feelings. I mean, I like Killzone 2, but I don't think it's gaming generation.
And the Hellghasts were plagiarized from a comic book, which I forget the name of now.
People think it was they plagiarized the Combine from Half-Life, but it actually plagiarized something that predated that.
It's like weird comic book that I forgot the name of, but straight up ripped out of there.
Allegedly plagiarized.
Yeah. Next, Heavy Rain.
I've got a love-hate relationship with Heavy Rain. I desperately want to like it, but
shoot me in the face.
It's not a great game.
No.
I admire what it
tried,
but it's not a great. No, I don't think many people would disagree with us. I'm glad that I played it.
Yeah.
I admire what it tried to do, and again, I really admire that Sony continues to greenlight these types of games. But I don't think it was great. I mean, even just on an entertainment level, I don't think it's a great game.
Are you considering it a game as in, like, are you talking about the
gameplay?
As
a piece of entertainment, I don't think it's particularly entertaining.
No. I think we need to talk about it a bit because there are so many.
Yeah. This is one of those games that opened up to a non-game core gamer audience.
There are so many readers out there who love it. I would say this. I would say Heavy Rain is David Cage's best game, and it is a piece of shit.
God damn.
I was happy to see a game that tried something different and said this is what the future of games should be, and then I was also happy that the future of games ultimately ended up not being like that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It was nice to see a proposal and then to see that proposal get rejected.
So it has the same problem that any game that tries to do anything unique and break away has, which is when it gets to the interactive sections, the bits where you actually control and supposed to have fun, it so blatantly cannot find a way to entertain you. It's screaming out for you to shoot some dudes. Like, it doesn't want you to shoot some dudes. But it can't find any other way for it to be fun when you're not shooting dudes. That's why, again, coming back to the why Tomb Raider have gone, well, screw it, you might as well shoot some dudes. Because that is more entertaining than holding some plates.
Out, isn't it?
Doing a load of QTEs. Everything is, unfortunately, the only way, the only thing that kind of game designers have, the only answer they have at the moment for something that's not killing people.
Yeah, interactive storylines, you have to have QTEs. I'm not so fussed about the QTEs. I didn't mind too much. I found them quite straightforward, found them quite intuitive, found them relevant to the task at hand always. I didn't have a problem with that. I just think everything hinged on the writing.
Yeah.
And the writing was, like, subpar. It was Home and Away, Neighbours. It wasn't even that good. It wasn't even, it wasn't good as a TV soap. Like a daily episode of a TV show.
I liked what it was trying to do again, but the more I played it, the less I liked it. It started off boring. If I remember, you're
my
Ethan,
God, yeah, you were
in
your
house.
Yeah,
and I respect what you're trying to do there.
Yeah,
you're trying to set out this character, and build these relationships, but it very quickly unfolds. I stopped caring about everyone. Ethan is just a bumbling idiot the entire time. Like.
That was a game that really needed to be fascinating on some sort of level.
Yeah.
For example, if Beyond was a PlayStation 4 launch game and looked as incredible as we imagine it would, it'd probably be a far more entertaining game. Or maybe not even Beyond. Maybe because it's worse than Heavy Rain. But Heavy Rain, maybe getting the dishes out and playing sword fights with your kids would be fascinating if the game looked photorealistic and there were particles coming out of your assholes.
But here's the thing, right? Opening scenes in any form of literature is so important. If you, I don't know, Macbeth, for example.
Absolutely.
MC Beth.
Or Othello, or just fucking anything.
I think it's unforgivable. Any piece of entertainment that gets the opening wrong.
Yeah, and this was a guy lounging in his house, and I remember the first line.
Didn't you have
the first line of Heavy Rain is, "I better put some clothes on."
Didn't you have to?
I remember.
Something like that.
I remember there was a point in the current gen where games suddenly got that, Like, I think the kind of maybe the first round of sequels, I can't even think, what's the opening of the original Assassin's Creed?
Assassin's Creed opens with Altair killing that guy, disobeying Al-Mu'allim's orders.
No, doesn't it start with you like in the lab? All right, mate.
Oh yeah.
So that's right. That's that one. The original Mass Effect. How does that start? You're on the ship, and then you talk a bit, and then
you chat.
we're going to do this, and then you go down, and then you look around like this, the colony that's been attacked.
Well, Mass Effect 2
Mass Effect 2, it starts with shit blowing up. Get out.
No, that's 3, isn't it? Yeah, 3 is being attacked.
No, 2 blows up.
So this is the sequel.
Oh my God!
Let me finish my whole point while you're spazzing out. Bleep that bit. The second game starts with shit blowing up. Get off the ship.
That was amazing.
In contrast to like, all right, mate, you should go down there and have a look about.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 2 starts with, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Escape. Shoot some guards. Stab some guys. Run. Go.
Yeah.
Actually starts with like a Greece-style battle with your other... Remember the other gang?
And don't get me wrong, I think there is...
You have to fight that guy.
You're thinking about when you get in the Animus. The game starts with you escaping from
oh, yeah.
I mean,
there's definitely
You're
scope
right.
for games like Heavy Rain where things start slowly and gradually build, but they have to be written very well.
I just think that Heavy Rain and Beyond, they're just the vessels for David Cage.
Yeah, and it's
he's
embarrassing.
He's not a good writer.
He needs to get a good writer in because they're embarrassingly written. They're
intended. It's not one of the games of the generation.
No.
I agree. You need to hook them from the start. That's why Scary Movie 3 was so successful.
Flipping heck. This guy.
Just saying.
So
eliminating Heavy Rain.
We've got loads to go through still.
Now it's time for Hotline Miami.
Shit.
Go, Rob. I'm just gonna sit here and nod in agreement because me and Rob are pretty.
I'll have a confession. I only love that game because of how it looks and sounds.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's absolutely fine.
I suppose that's like that's half of the game.
And
that's half the battle one already.
I only love how it looks, sounds, and plays. Other than that.
Right. Hotline Miami is, well, first of all, it's one of your best friends coming around to your house saying, oh, by the way, I found these 12 awesome tracks that you're absolutely going to love listening to. Do you want to listen to them right now? And you just listen through all of them.
While you smash guys in with golf clubs.
While you smash guys in with golf clubs. It's beautifully violent. It's like, it's over ultra violent. It's almost self-satirical in how violent it is, but also has this amazing, unique, rare sophistication where it makes you feel so cool being evil.
Yep.
It makes you want to be ridiculously violent and be as sinister and depraved as you possibly can be.
That's one of the games that I just could not. I played it start to finish in one session. I could not stop. The atmosphere, it just sucked you in, and it's kind of it made me feel the same way. I only ever felt like that again watching Drive. It was like they're very similar in terms of what they do, but it's just like everything about it was just amazing. You know, I love in terms of gameplay. So we're gonna talk about gameplay because that is important. Like it looks good and it sounds good, but it's still an amazing game to play. It kind of feels like almost in a way like remember Smash TV in kind of like how you approach each area. Like you need to come in there, figure out all right, this person comes from this side, this person comes from, and then picking up weapons on the fly and figuring out I need to. And it was so good.
There was still a randomness to it.
Yeah, they were so good about forcing you to mix up how you do things because you'd get more points based on the fact that you use different weapons. So you run in there, throw a baseball bat at a person, smash a door into a person, grab his knife, throw it across the room, and exactly. Like, I am an assassin. By the end of that game.
So again, coming back to the scope of our list, we all love it really because of the aesthetics, right?
No, I mean, I think the gameplay is fine.
What is the legacy of Hotline Miami?
One of the most focused games of the last 7 years.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah.
I would say it knows exactly what it wants to do and nails every last element throughout.
I think it has a lot of cultural impact as well in terms of like the characters. They're hardly emphasized, but the amount of times I've seen people dying to buy that guy's jacket or get the chicken head mask and that kind of thing.
I think culturally it could be bigger.
As in, it could be bigger.
There isn't an iOS version, is there?
No,
I mean, it wouldn't
work.
I don't think it would work, but I could also list you 100 games that I didn't think would work that are top sellers on iOS.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it barely works with a keyboard and mouse.
It's a game. I feel like it's a game that deserves to be talked about by a man on the train.
I saw a man on the train playing it last week.
What was he playing it
on the Vita?
So that shows you how niche your man on the train was.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he's got a Vita.
True.
Not really a man on the train, really. Was it you?
No, it wasn't. I had a David Cage moment where I came out of my body and looked at myself, and then I just started slapping
writing bad crap.
People there, and I was like, I didn't stop that.
We all love it. Let's put it through.
Yeah.
Right. After that, big one, Call of Duty, the series. From
this is massive,
Call of Duty 2, which came out on the Xbox 360, to Black Ops.
Can we get something out of the way first of all? There's a lot of Call of Duty haters, right?
Mm-hmm. If you
forget them.
No.
I mean,
if you
all
unwilling,
of those Call of Duty haters would go back and say that they love, the origins of the series. They love 2, they love 4.
I
started to drop off after Modern Warfare 2. I think that's when it became a bit. I mean, even I really personally got bored of the series after about. Yeah, probably Modern Warfare 2 point. And I feel that. I think by the time 3 came out, I think people just, found it a bit dull by then. But that's not to say that it's not a fantastic game. And it's beyond, it's an e-sport now. That's what it is. Call of Duty is an e-sport. They're limited to how much they can change the rules. I mean, football don't reinvent the rules every season. It is Call of Duty is an e-sport straight up.
Yeah, that's the thing when people say FIFA doesn't change much every year. So what do you want to do? Put multi-ball?
And you know what? You only have to play.
I'd love that.
You only have to play some of its competitors to be reminded.
That's absolutely
just
right.
how much
That's
it nails
nail on the head. Yeah.
The subtle mechanics of making fun. Shooting a gun in Call of Duty is no game is more satisfying than Call of Duty shooting your gun. Like 60 frames per second, and it just focuses everything on that. The tactile feel, the responsiveness. It's still massively entertaining.
I would
absolutely.
I would suggest then, if we're talking about games of the generation, that the one to go for would be Modern Warfare, because that was the first one that revolutionised the multiplayer.
Well, I mean,
since that is built on that.
I'm just going to put it out there now, because this will probably be shouted down. But my personal view is, I think Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, and Modern Warfare 3 should all go through.
Three and two. Two is where they dropped the ball.
I think two is where
two was rushed.
I thought 2 is one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life.
Did you play Modern Warfare 1?
Yeah.
Two's rushed.
Played it all the way through.
I think anyone will tell you. 2 is a rush game. They all left.
Did you play
2.
the co-op mode in 2?
Yeah.
The I got every last star. I think there were stars.
Did you play the campaign?
Yeah, I played the campaign.
God awful.
I love the campaign mode.
Really? It was really good when you bombing the White House and stuff like that, and it jumped the shark completely.
I just thought
that was the point where the whole series went downhill. I think
personally,
Black Ops is better than Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, I haven't played Black Ops, so I think it's really good.
Personally, Modern Warfare, the original Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, has the best campaign, story-wise, character-wise. Yeah. There's a reason why all those characters kept showing up again, and people wanted to see them again and again. Yeah. I think it's a toss-up between Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 2 in terms of which multiplayer was best. I disagree. I think Modern Warfare 2 is one of the best multiplayers. It was, but the problem we have with put it through based on that is it was also one of the buggiest multiplayers. Once people figured out you could break it in such a comprehensive way.
My personal favourite is Black Ops 1.
Black Ops 1 was
the campaign. If it's not the best, it's the second best. Like such a pleasant surprise to have Treyarch come out with a game of that quality.
That was the Reznov campaign.
Yeah,
right?
with the Reznov campaign.
Such
a great campaign, and the multiplayer's excellent as well. But a lot of the hardcore fans would disagree with me there.
I think if I had to pick one, it'd be the first Modern Warfare.
Well, we're all going to put through the first Modern Warfare.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's the only thing we're definitely deciding on. Is the first Modern Warfare.
On balance,
I think that was such an amazing.
It just had those moments.
It had the moments in the campaign, and the maps. I think the multiplayer maps are still the best of the bunch. They were just so well designed.
I mean, it's the best Infinity Ward Call of Duty.
Yeah, I agree. Well,
oh god, that's really tough.
And on its own, that is the game that influenced.
Because there's just no chance anyone's going to persuade me that the Modern Warfare 2 campaign is better than Call of Duty 4's campaign with a ghillie suit level.
I'll tell you what.
All these defining moments.
I'll tell you what I love about Modern Warfare 2.
The sniper moment.
Yeah, all of that.
I'll say what I love about Modern Warfare 2. Clearly, Infinity Ward had just realised they had nailed it. They just had created this amazing franchise all of a sudden, and everyone thought they were the fucking best in the world, and they felt like that. And what I liked about it is they got very arrogant very quickly. And they sort of focused all that arrogance in that game, like really bombastic stuff, like the airport mission. Yeah. I think there was a slight mission, if I remember correctly, there's a bit in space. There was one moment where you view the game from space. Yeah,
I think a lot of them have got space moments.
Yeah. There was a mission where you launch a nuke. I mean, this was them trying to define what the series was. I think with Modern Warfare 1, they were trying to just build a great game, best game they could. With Modern Warfare 2, I think they were trying to define exactly what the series is, which is essentially an action movie, like, a 90s action movie. That's when it became
a blockbuster in every way.
A blockbuster action movie. That's when they said, this is actually, in fact, what Modern Warfare is.
I think
they nailed it.
Was like
I think you only have to. The campaign in Modern Warfare 2 is the shortest of the lot, I think.
Yeah.
And you only have to look at the resulting fallout after the game came out and the comments by a lot of the key developers that did leave about the tremendous pressure that they were under to push that game out.
Yeah. Not one of them said it was bad,
a rushed
though.
game.
Not one of them said.
No, but they said everyone it was rushed, and it is a rushed game.
I mean, I can't see that. I can't see the rushed.
The single player was fun. It had those amazing moments.
It was cinematic, though.
It was cinematic.
I mean, that's what this generation is all about.
What were the amazing moments in Modern Warfare 2's campaign?
But
like when you were hanging off the edge of a cliff and you could see into the horizon, and suddenly a jet flies over your head.
That even happened.
Yeah,
doesn't that happen?
I think that might be the problem, because those amazing moments.
The ice bit.
Yeah, the ice bit.
So you had to remind me. That's the best bit of the game.
Yeah, that was. I thought that was a fantastic.
You told me personally before that one of your defining moments of the generation was when the nuke goes off.
Modern
Warfare 1.
Yeah, I would never ever.
So that's one of the defining moments of the generation. The
that doesn't detract from
one of the best levels.
Yeah, that doesn't detract from the point that.
Ever.
Yeah, agreed. I absolutely agree. But that doesn't detract from the fact that I thought Modern Warfare 2 was just stunning.
I think you've just forgotten it.
No, I haven't forgotten it, Andy. I have not forgotten it. No, it's like one of my favourite games of all time. I haven't forgotten it. Like I played it through. Like I finished it like on like the hardest difficulty. Like I don't play games, but I played this like all the way through. You know, like I just.
That's because it was 5 hours long.
Anyone for World at War?
No. I played it through and I thought it was fantastic. I think what's happened is you've forgotten it. And
because it was forgettable.
Everyone says everyone's forgotten everything. You forgot it. No, you
right,
forgot it.
Let's move to a vote. I disagree there.
I think if I'm going to put one of them through, it's going to be Modern Warfare 1. I think the second game, the story has its moments, it's fun, but as a story, it's kind of nonsense and it's weird.
Do any of the others deserve to go through? Some of the series here,
Black Ops 2 and Black Ops. Black Ops has an awesome story.
But do any of these complement each other enough to deserve 2 places on the list?
If I was, because they're all just variations on the same theme.
I think you pick one. I don't want.
If it was my personal list, I'd put Black Ops 1 through as well. So I think the campaign's just absolutely brilliant.
I like the campaign, but I still prefer the first game.
Yeah, it's just because when you look through it, when you look through it, you see Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 3, Call of Duty World at War, Modern Warfare. That's where Call of Duty, as we know it now, started. I think because although they all kind of share the same engine, 4 is where the
Call of Duty 2 doesn't get enough credit away.
Yeah,
like people forget that it's a
I like World at War as well.
Yeah. I think the first Modern Warfare is the one.
I did. Fuck off. I only play campaigns. I like the campaign. I
think Modern Warfare.
Well, I think I'm in a minority now, but I think we should put through Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 2.
No, if we're putting 2 in, it's Modern Warfare 1 and Black Ops.
Well, maybe we should. I just think this series has been.
Fuck me.
I just think this series has been so amazing. I think maybe. So defining as well. Maybe it deserves more than one. I mean, this has been quality throughout, and everyone I know says Black Ops is amazing.
But we're not going to agree on what the second one is, because I think Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 are the worst games in the series.
I think Black Ops is better than Modern Warfare 2 and 3. Then maybe
Black Ops 2 is better than them. I think Call of Duty 2 is better than them.
I didn't even play the campaign in Black Ops 2.
So we can agree that it's just Modern Warfare 1 going through.
So although you argue
the thing I recommended 4 hours ago is what?
All right, then we have to talk it through, Chris.
So are we going with Modern Warfare 1?
Another pun for Call of Duty. Duty calls as well. Yep.
Next game. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
I haven't played
There's actual laughing happening right now.
I haven't played it.
That's beautiful looking.
Beautiful game.
Yeah, looks apart. Combat's good.
Shout out to Mercury.
I think there's probably a couple of 2D Castlevania games that people would put above it in their list for this gen, though, right?
Yeah, probably. But taking Castlevania and making it a 3D game, many people have tried. These are the only guys that succeeded.
They did a Retro Studios-esque job.
That is an outstanding job.
That's a compliment.
Yeah, outstanding job. Second game, can't wait to play it. But
it's not one of my games.
I don't think it's one of the games of generation.
That's simple.
Yep.
Easier that one.
Yeah. This one's not going to be easy. Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots.
I'm stepping down from this one because I could not hate Metal Gear Solid more.
So I know I've been talking a lot recently, but can I just quickly say I saw the Phantom Pain trailer over December, and I was ridiculously hyped for all of the Metal Gear games, and I played every single one chronologically, and I was having such an amazing time. And every single game I played, I was getting more and more excited for the new Metal Gear Solid 5. But then I played Metal Gear Solid 4, and I realised it's the worst one in the series. It's not very good.
Metal Gear Solid 4?
Yeah. It's really bad. It has some terrible moments.
Metal Gear is an enigma to me. I've played every single Metal Gear game to completion. I couldn't tell you anything about any of them. I've played all of them to completion.
Yeah.
It's not even like a traditional game, is it?
No.
It's like almost like a comic book. It's like an installment for the fan base, you know? Like, Splinter Cell is a better game mechanically. Chaos Theory is a better game than... You only have to look at the new, Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain look like they are Splinter Cell games now. Mechanically, I don't think it's ever been as good as it could be.
Interesting.
I think that from a gameplay perspective, I could play a lot of stealth games. I love that genre, but I think Splinter Cell's evolved as a stealth game, whereas Metal Gear Solid's kind of sticking with the same flavor and just adding some sprinkles to it. Yeah, I think Kojima's always had this mad genius way about him, and I love the fact that he has that for his stories and characters. But I think Metal Gear Solid 4 was his David Cage moment, where it kind of it all became a bit too much. It started to fall apart. It did fall apart. And my memories of Metal Gear Solid 4, with every game before it, I can say I love them from start to finish. With Metal Gear Solid 4, I have to take parts and moments out of it to say I love it.
I think the one thing every Metal Gear game has above everything else is polish.
Yeah.
Just unseen levels of polish.
And pretension.
There's so many things that happen in
I
this
reckon
game.
Phantom Pain was probably finished like a year ago. He's just been in the next 2 years putting in sort of details
he wants you to go, wow.
ice cubes melting and all the stuff that he put in all of his past games.
I think that Metal Gear Solid 4, some of the moments that it has are just amazing. Like Return to Shadow Mode.
Return to Shadow Mode is probably the highlight.
Like that's one of the moments where I actually had to pause the game and step away because it was just too much nostalgia. I couldn't contain it because it plays that musical note from the original Metal Gear Solid. I think it's called the Best Is Yet to Come or something. The song, and it just plays just a few notes from it, and it just it just set me off. I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Do you remember
at the same time the microwave moment at the end? That was
that was awesome.
That was like. That you will make it through that even if you just press it like at a leisurely pace.
It's just a shame that after that you then have to watch a 1 hour and 20 minute
but like with that
cutscene.
moment, you press it, you tap it. If you tap the X button to crawl at a leisurely pace, you will make it through no problem.
But you don't.
But I went absolutely mental. That was years and years worth of love for that character coming out, and I hammered that controller harder than I've ever pressed a button.
Hideo Kojima is a man who needs someone who's even more Hideo Kojima to come in and tell him to cut his shit. He needs Shigeru Miyamoto needs to be his boss. Needs to upend his table when he puts an hour and 20 minute cutscene in and go, this is not necessary, this bit is not necessary, and cut it down to 30 minutes.
I mean, it had some great moments.
I'm one of those.
It seems like he's got no one telling him, look, Hideo.
Yeah.
I love Metal Gear Solid endlessly, and I love the fact that it has got an hour and a half cutscenes.
I can't stand that. There's
at least you can pause them in 4.
Yeah,
but I mean,
revolutionary.
It's almost like he's untouchable when you can't. But some of the cutscenes in Metal Gear Solid series are some of those pretentious things.
Here's the thing.
It's fine to say Braid's pretentious, and it's fine to say stuff like Fez is pretentious, but for some reason it's
indulgent more.
Metal Gear Solid 4 isn't
stuff like war and all this kind of stuff.
You can tell Tamoor is a fan of Metal Gear Solid because he's criticising so many things about 4, but he doesn't criticise the storyline. And to be honest, neither would I, because there is a really fine line between David Cage levels of annoying and what Hideo Kojima does, which is just weird. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not bad. It's weird.
It's just so weird. It's endearing.
I said that he's had his Hideo Kojima, his David Cage moment, and the fact that it's too indulgent in himself. Like he could have done a lot of that stuff in less time. Yeah. But the thing is, the difference between having an hour, he's always had these lengthy cutscenes. The difference with Metal Gear Solid 4 is, in Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, he had long cutscenes, but I enjoyed watching them, and they were fun and they were interesting. But in Metal Gear Solid 4, a lot of those long cutscenes were pointless and shit. Like the Johnny Sasaki Meryl rolling around Mr. and Mrs. Smith being married kind of thing was just like, get rid of this. I do not need to see this. This is shit and pointless. You're just padding the hours out.
Such a shame, because that game has... I mean, do you remember the Big Mama chase scene when you're driving out?
That was amazing.
Why hasn't anyone emulated that? Like, this was an amazing on-rail shooter that has interactive moments.
Even at its craziest, when Revolver Ocelot is shooting down machines with finger guns.
No.
I loved that.
I hated that
that
scene.
was amazing.
I thought that was...
just like...
I thought that it, veered into David Cage territory.
It's just like because he's like, I'm in control of this. Like I'm not. He doesn't need to go bang 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 with his fingers.
That's a good voice impression, by the way.
He's just like, I know I've got this locked. I've got. Someone's probably behind him pressing a button every time he does it. But he's like, I'm so crazy that I'm just going to do it with my finger.
In that scene, he captured Solid Snake. And he had him right in front of him. He had guards all around him. And he didn't kill him.
Yeah, he lets him go.
And then 10 minutes later, he tries to kill him.
That's
right,
and there you have it. That's Metal Gear.
Yeah, that's Metal Gear Solid 4. So
So I don't think it goes.
So we're chucking it.
This is my favorite franchise of all time, but
it's not as good as 3.
It's nowhere near as good as 3.
No, or 2.
But
that's a controversial one.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Next one, God of War 3.
Nah.
Weakest God of War in the series, I believe.
Great opening.
Actually, Ascension might be weaker, but awesome opening. Looked really nice. By this point, I had enough of Kratos' shit. I stop shouting. Just grow old and die.
Chill out, man.
Yeah, I've had enough of it. I had enough of it. It was the gameplay felt old by the time 3 came around. It was
antiquated platforming and
the set pieces were a bit.
It's one of the best looking games I've ever seen.
Kratos' face looks amazing. His face is just that is a lot of detail in a man's face.
But it is a victim of its own success, because when the first one came out, it felt fresh, and then so many games just ripped it off. By the time the third one came out, we were all bored of it, and it wasn't their fault because it was only
for different reasons. I remember when the PlayStation 3 came out and we had it in the office. It came out at the same time as God of War 2. God of War 2 looked better on PS2 than any launch game on PS3.
Yeah.
God of War 2 was incredible.
That is a pinnacle of that series.
And action.
Yeah,
I just think it had to live up to God of War 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it peaked at 2 and it's been downhill.
God of War 3 is a great
PSP
game.
I
thoroughly enjoyed it, but
I think the sales have reflected that as well. I mean, it hasn't really had that blockbuster appeal since 2.
Yeah, the portable games were better than God of War 3, I think.
Yeah, apparently people
they're great.
Really high,
but I don't think God of War 3 deserves to be one of the games of this generation. Next up is Alan Wake.
I really liked Alan Wake. I would understand if it didn't go through, but
I enjoyed Alan Wake, but it's not
a game of the generation,
is it?
I did have a great.
I think it's flattering it a little bit that it's made it onto this long list.
I think in hindsight that game's a bit.
No, I think it's fine being on this list. I think it justifies a place on the list.
On the long list, you mean?
I mean, it's a good. You know what I really like about Alan Wake, and it's not like any sort of mythology that any other developer would take, because its origins are in an open world game, and they've gone, bugger that, we'll make a linear game. The sense of place,
actually what they said.
The sense of place is brilliant. Like you can see things in the distance, like locations that you end up going to or places that you've gone to, and it's like leftovers from the fact they were building an open world.
Yeah,
that sounds.
I really like that.
Sounds expensive.
I like the mechanics as well, which felt fresh, but I don't think it took the concept far enough.
You were basically a Ghostbuster in that game, weren't you?
Yeah, I don't think they took the concept far enough.
Yeah, the combat was disappointing. Yeah. I liked it
didn't evolve.
I liked the attempt at making a really weird storyline. I liked
the live action stuff
that he's writing, what's going on.
Yeah,
that was quite clever. But I think it justifies a place in the long list, but
it's not their definitive.
The best part of Alan Wake is the TV series in the game.
Yeah, that's
Bright
clever.
Falls, which is essentially Twin Peaks and Twilight Zone and that kind of thing. But yeah, it did some fun things with combat using ordinary things on ghosts, like the flares and that kind of thing.
Quite satisfying as well.
Yeah, very satisfying to flashlight them and then shoot them. It was good, but I don't think a lot of it was let down.
Yep.
Test Drive, Unlimited 1 and 2.
I don't think we can justify that being in. Great as
great games.
But if we've got Forza Horizon in there and we've got
Blur.
Burnout Paradise.
I think it's a different type of game.
Yeah.
Really though?
It's
to Forza.
If there's a game to challenge Burnout, it would be one of the Test Drives. I mean, every game that you're seeing now, a racing game being planned for next gen, is basically what Test Drive was doing years and years ago on Xbox 360. Still got a huge community.
I'm just concerned that we've got 3 open world racing games.
If it deserves to be on there, it deserves to be on there.
It's what racing games we put for Burnout.
I think Burnout is more fun. I think Burnout's a more fun, polished, tightly designed game.
But it's also predominantly offline.
Burnout Paradise?
Yeah.
I played a lot of it online.
It's predominantly online, right? So
you're not driving around and guys are just turning up. Oh, hello.
Oh, right. Well, you can. It was like the first game where you could sort of access online games.
So you're saying Test Drive's different because it's more an MMO
racer kind of thing.
The
way the crew is.
Oh, right. So it's almost like this is the answer to Burnout Paradise's question, which is how far.
I'm certainly going to argue for it. Test Drive Unlimited is a great game. Huge community on it already.
I feel like
for that, to me, that is what the next gen of racing games is. That's what the next gen of all games is. What did someone call it recently?
Shared world.
Mingle player.
Hell,
I like it. I like it. I like it. Mingle player.
That's what the future of games are.
I played
just guys, invading your single player game, but not in a disruptive way.
I can think of nothing worse.
I think if you ask someone who plays,
I know that feel great.
I play racing games, but if you ask someone who plays racing games more, like someone who's a fan of the genre, I don't think they'd say Test Drive Unlimited.
Here's the thing, though, right?
Of the generation.
I think they would.
I'm guessing one person here has played it and loves it, and we haven't played it, so it should go through.
I've played it. I've played it.
Oh, right.
I can see what you mean in that is different. My only concern was that it wasn't different enough, but I see what you mean now. That it's an MMO more than the other two. The other two were open world, whereas this has far more of a focus.
Maybe it should go down as a notable mention then.
Yeah. Well, my when it comes to racing games, I'm all about fun, like go in Need for Speed style, Burnout style, arcadey races. This was kind of like a middle groundish, where it's almost simulation. But
see, that to me sounds quite appealing.
I respected it for its instance. If you want to put it through, I won't argue against it. But
yeah, I don't think they're going to.
I personally think that it's a notable mention.
First one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Castle Crashers.
Great game.
Yeah.
I think if our criteria is it one of the top 5 digital games of the console gen? Yes, it is.
Yep. I side scrolling.
It's a beautiful
action
games.
games.
Yeah, it's just
the one. And that is one of the
game.
best ones. Yeah. So that's going through.
Cool. That was surprisingly.
Yeah.
It's by the guys that designed Alien Hominids.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I also, as a notable mention, I want to mention the Scott Pilgrim game. Which
that's a great game.
Excellent, but isn't in the list.
It's just next up is Pez. I'm bowing out of this because I do not understand.
Didn't we already dismiss this? We talked about it a bit when we talked about FIFA.
Yeah.
The most recent Pez games are the best for many, many, many years.
Yeah, but still not enough.
But the rest of them have been arse. I mean, they suffered from engine stuff at the beginning of the gen, and their online problems, and that kind of gave FIFA the window to kick on. And maybe FIFA feels like it's become a little bit complacent recently.
Yeah,
I mean, since 12 maybe.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the
Pez is getting a little bit better.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the first.
I think we're going to see
Pez.
some real competition on the next gen when they actually do decide to release one with their new engine.
Yeah, it has Pez and Resident Evil have basically been this generation. Both of them have
no one's going to tell you any Pez game defined this generation of games.
Yeah.
Pez.
Sorry, Pez.
Pez off. It doesn't work. I was going to say Pez dispenser as well, but that doesn't work.
Pez off is good.
Pez disposer. Moving on.
Our next game is Final Fantasy.
Which one?
None of them.
There've been many lightnings returning in this generation.
How about, does anyone want to nominate any Final Fantasy game of this generation?
Does anyone play JRPGs other than me and
you,
you,
but
Chris,
I had
bit of Blue Dragon.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Bit of Lost Odyssey.
I think, Is Lost Odyssey on this?
No.
Holy shit. Firstly, let's replace that with Lost Odyssey.
The only final, I think it says a lot that the only Final Fantasy this generation I enjoyed was Theatrhythm.
The best Final Fantasy this generation has been a rhythm action game, Theatrhythm, on a portable device.
Yep.
Re-releases of old Final Fantasies. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yep.
And Lost Odyssey, which is
the fake Final Fantasy 17 poster in Deus Ex.
Yep. That was a better game than
you
most
could
Final
technically
Fantasy.
count.
That was more fun.
I don't know if Final Fantasy Online or whatever it is, the latest online one 14. On PS3 and Xbox were so busted for so long that I don't think they count. There's a completely different game, recoded and all that shit. Mm-hmm. So I think Lost Odyssey should replace Final Fantasy first of all. And then
I think we should not.
And even then, no one's going to argue its case other than me, because it was an amazing game. A lot of people will say it's the best JRPG in years.
Let's move on to more passionate debates.
Let's get Final Fantasy to fuck.
The writing was awesome in Lost Odyssey. Play it. After that, Enslaved, Odyssey to the West.
No, I'm glad we're talking about Enslaved.
Yeah, it doesn't go through, but it makes the long list as a nod. I loved that game. It's a beautiful game.
Yeah.
I loved the ending as well. I loved all of it. I loved Circus, his performance in it.
I loved that dog boss.
It kind of, yeah.
That was a great boss.
The only boss, wasn't it? It's the dog, like, you constantly fought the dog.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if that game had an extra year's development...
I think exactly the same thing.
And if it was a first-party title, like I hear rumours that it once might have been. If that game was published by Sony and it came out a year later... I think we'd be talking about, Last of Us. Basically, because that's what Last of Us is, right? Didn't the lead artist go and make Last of Us?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure, and someone can tell me I'm wrong in the comments, the lead artist on Enslaved did Last of Us.
Oh, right, went to Naughty Dog.
Which is why, they have a similar aesthetic.
Wow, that's interesting. That makes sense.
That's one of those games that really did relationship between two characters, player controlled and AI or otherwise.
You talking about...
Enslaved.
Right.
Yeah. So what Last of Us gets praised for now, Enslaved
did
Last
of Us
well
did it all
back
better.
Then. Yeah, it did it all
Last
better.
Last of Us feels like they got a second go to make the game again.
Yeah.
And
we shouldn't be talking about progenitors either because Ico did it better.
Yeah. But Enslaved. Trip was more human than
I loved
Yoda.
Circus' performance. I thought it was brilliant.
What a great opening as well. Do you remember you were on a plane, weren't you, or something? Do you remember?
I love that it's just inspired by
cinematic sort
inspired
of
by the classic, Journey to the West, which is kind of like I love that because it's inspired so many other things that I love, like Dragon Ball Z and all this other stuff, and a bunch of animes and other Japanese fiction. But
it was also written by Alex Garland.
Yeah, who I've already praised thoroughly for DMC and.
I thought the writing was really good. He works with Ninja Theory.
He looked over the script for it, and he's currently writing Logan's Run with Ken Levine. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't played it, but you're all talking about it here as if it should be in. So why is it not going in?
It's a great game, but it's been bettered.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I wish it was a bit grittier.
I think there was enough
I
variation.
didn't buy into the world as much as I wanted to because it was like, because then we made the comedy robots. Including this giant dog robot.
It became a bit too routine as well. You entered an area, you threw some bugs in the air, they scanned it never took two types of
It never dulled the mechanics up to 11. It didn't have a core idea that it then evolved.
Yeah.
The combat was a bit
shaky. It never evolved. It never became deep. It felt like it should have been something. They wanted it to be something like what Devil May Cry eventually became or something Platinum Games-ish. But it never became that. It was always very watered down third-person combat. On top of that, it had some kind of frequently annoying camera issues, which kind of annoyed me throughout the game and kind of ruined the gameplay experience for me.
I love how Scullion scratched it out for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because you already decided.
I think you're right to see that.
And on top of that, the DLC that they released for it, Pigsy's Perfect 10, was probably better than the core game.
Really?
It's really good.
So in short, if you haven't got Enslaved, go and buy it for like £1 or whatever, isn't it? It's out on PC now.
Definitely worth it.
Buy that game.
It's definitely worth it.
It'll be in a Steam sale.
Yeah, it's really great.
It's always in a Steam sale, so
it's like the Beyond Good and Evil of this gen, I think.
Yeah, and people might be desperate for a sequel.
That is a fair comparison. That's a good comparison.
Thank you very much. Let's move on.
Next up, are you ready?
Okay.
Batman Arkham City or Batman Arkham Asylum?
Wow.
Just choose which one you like more.
Yeah, fuck it.
I'm going to say Arkham Asylum is excellent. No, wait. Arkham Asylum is excellent.
That's good
excellent for its focus. Firstly, Rocksteady getting Batman right, getting the superhero game so right. Amazing work.
Maybe we should do background music to talking.
I've like shut up.
Do you remember what I said about Resident Evil 4?
Yeah.
Batman Arkham Asylum was probably the last game that did that. I reviewed it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a thing that not many people get to experience outside of this profession. So, I just had a disc and it's like, play this game. And it was pretty much off of most people's radars just because of how crap superhero games were up to that point. And pretty much an unknown developer as well.
Rocksteady. Well, they've done a couple of crappy games.
That was the last one. Like, the big surprise, oh my God, you've got to play this Batman game. It's brilliant. I don't really care about Batman.
This holy shit, this game is incredible.
They just nailed it. So many ideas.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I think there's an argument to put both through. I think Arkham Asylum had those amazing mental breakdown moments.
Well, Arkham Asylum is an amazing,
focused,
like action game, and Arkham City is one of my favorite open world games ever. It's just
I think they're both very different games, and I would put them through.
Yeah, no, I want to put them both through.
Like, if you're going to ask me if I want to put two Batman
let's
games
put them both
through
so that I don't have to row with more later.
Chris, what do you think?
I preferred Asylum to City. I liked how City was an open world game, but the city itself didn't really grip me.
Oh, I wrote a like on that city, man.
Fair enough. I know it's
I wrote an entire feature on how amazing that city is.
That's fine. This is my personal.
Sure enough.
That city is incredible.
I was happier just gliding through most of it.
Do you know? I was going to say something about Skyward Sword. I won't, because we will go on for ages.
Yep.
Let's move on.
So both of those are going through?
Yep.
Yeah.
Needlessly
so happy.
Oh yeah. Next up, Lego Star Wars.
Nah.
No.
I mean, I haven't played of them? I haven't played it, but nah.
Isn't Lego Marvel the best?
Sorry,
was it Lego Star Wars 2? It was the best Star Wars one.
The best one was the one that combined 1 and 2, or the full thing that had the episodes 1 to 6.
What it was called, even though it's just 2 games. The complete saga.
Yeah, because that was the only one. Well, no, Lego Star Wars 2 and Lego Star Wars Complete Saga were the only 2 this gen.
I think that was
the first Lego Star Wars.
That was the peak of the series.
Yeah, everything else
became a bit repetitive. It was
a modern
Batman, Indiana Jones, and Harry Potter.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I started giving Lego games a try during that phase, and that's why I was.
The first one you play, you'll love. Star Wars 2 for me was the peak of the series, or around there. I mean, obviously Saga would have come out afterwards.
That was 2 was the original trilogy, wasn't it? 4, 5, 6.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, because the first one was the first.
Trilogy.
Was the prequel. Yeah, that was the best one. You're right. Lego Star Wars 2 that had episodes 4, 5, and 6.
I think they deserve to go in just for what a force in the.
Well, you consider that
it's such an accessible game.
Yeah,
anyone can play that game. We talk about accessibility a lot during these podcasts. I played that game through my girlfriend. Yeah. She doesn't play many games.
Yeah.
She absolutely loved it. You could play it with your little brother, your nephew. You could your mum and dad. It's everyone loves Star Wars. Everyone loves Lego.
I haven't played it, so I have no objections.
I think when you consider that the first Lego Star Wars came out just as this generation was starting, and we've now come 8 years later. There's Lego Marvel, which it's still using the same basic mechanics, but just building on it with extra features and stuff. And that we're still talking about how great Lego Marvel is, shows that it's a game engine and it's easy to play mechanics that have lasted an entire generation and are still considered enjoyable. It's had a couple of dips.
Do we agree that around
Lego
then those Star Wars
rubbish,
games, the original Star Wars ones were the peak of the series?
Yeah, because Star Wars is that thing that it's just that everyone can relate to. Like Lego Pirates. If you haven't seen the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, you won't like it that much.
Tell me you didn't play Lego Batman.
I did, but it wasn't all.
I was challenging you to tell me you didn't play it.
No, I played a bit.
Batman written on it.
I played a bit of it, yeah. And do you know what I
played like half an hour.
For some, I ran into a game-breaking bug straight away, so I was just out of it by that point.
I'm out.
Yeah, but I play and I dip in and out of it, and it's always fun. And I'm impressed that it's one of those few franchises that has as many entries as it does, and it has kind of remained consistent in terms of review. It's not
so charming as well, so witty. That it's so
usually
funny.
By now people are like, "Oh, kill this franchise every year, god damn it!" But it's one of those
charming as hell. I don't think anyone says that just because of how.
And that is in every other franchise with this many games in it.
And that's how you should do cutscenes as well.
Should we nominate Star Wars 2?
Yeah, that's how you do cutscenes as well, without a single word spoken. They're some of the funniest cutscenes.
Yeah, great series.
Right, next up, here we go. Uncharted. Drake's Fortune, Among Thieves, and Drake's Deception.
Who here is going to tell me that 2 is not the best game in that series?
No one is going to say that.
Such a beautiful game.
2 is just incredible.
2 is one of the best games ever.
But the Last of Us team did 2. Essentially.
Every third-person game that has come out since has had to live up to the bar set by that game.
Yeah, even 3.
Yeah, 3 didn't quite manage it.
Yeah, no,
because he just loved touching things.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
all these walls.
He just has to touch
touching the wall. It's like he's on LSD or something. Just touching the walls.
Probably is.
Stop touching the walls, Drake.
And the shooting mechanics.
Yeah, the shooting mechanic was
Jesus Christ.
designed by someone
it's like underwater
on LSD.
shooting.
And it just didn't have the humor of the second game.
No. I mean, you hear about all the crunch
and that whole moment in the Himalayas. Was it in the Himalayas with your buddy.
where you're kicking.
Yeah, which basically provided the basis of Last of Us.
Yeah, that was it.
Game.
Yeah.
My favorite moment is where he's trapped in the cell and he's doing the shadow puppets. They're reenacting the betrayal, and he's like, "Oh, friend." That's the best moment.
Yeah. It was full of funny moments. I imagine we're going to talk about Uncharted 2 a lot in this.
All right, so we're moving on. Yeah, Uncharted 2 goes through. The rest of them can.
We're coming to the home straight now.
Yeah,
we are almost there. Next up, Just Cause, either 1 or 2.
I love Just Cause.
You love Just Cause, don't you?
But
Just
I
Cause
realise
I'm
in the minority.
Yeah,
we've just put like Sleeping Dogs and Saints Row through.
Yeah, like
very different.
I've played Just Cause 2 for a few hours, and it was just amazing.
Sorry,
I don't know why. Here's the thing, right? I hope people listening to this can understand. Like, I'm being berated of having normal consumption habits.
I just imagine
you've got this book just full of a list of game names in like half an hour, 3 hours. You know exactly how long you've spent on every game.
No, I just want to, just in case, because I don't play these games as much.
The
as
total
game,
3 hours is so specific.
Impressive. But for actual playing, entire
it's a scattergun approach. It's the time. It's like 3 hours is so specific.
Right, I have 3 hours of gaming time as well.
Which shall I play today?
I shall play 20 minutes of this.
I played Arkham City for 2 hours and 33 minutes and came away jaded.
Anyway, so I played this for a few hours, and it was really fun. But I played it after I played GTA 5, so it wasn't.
That's a stunning game as well. The second one's just incredible.
Yeah, some of it, like the way everything moves is seamlessly. The fact you can be in a plane, jump out the plane, parachute down, fire a grappling gun into a car, shoot yourself into the car, and kick the guy out and be in the driving seat all in one.
Yeah.
I think it goes through.
Which one? The
second
one.
one.
Second one did the seamless transitions and the scope way better.
Yeah.
Next up, Mirror's Edge.
Are we on the final three?
Yep.
Mirror's Edge is someone in the comments will remind me. I said this about another game. It's one of 2 games where I've actually shouted and swore at the television. It's like if the commenters could have seen me actually shout 6 out of 10 at the television on my own. God,
you shout review scores at games.
It's such a flawed gem. Yeah, it's the only time I've shouted a review score at the game. I can't remember what did I say in this list. The other game was
earlier.
I think it was like the last podcast we did.
Yeah.
There was another game that made me shout and swear at the television on my own. But oh god, I think it was like. And people know what I'm talking about. It's such a flawed gem.
Dead Rising. You said about Dead Rising.
No, it wasn't that. It was something else.
It was a flawed gem.
It was a flawed gem.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like
beautiful.
Like it'd be stuff like where you'd it's difficult to make a platforming game in first person. They used to say it was impossible until Retro did it.
Yeah.
And even that would have taken someone of the ability of Miyamoto's come in and explain to them, you should make him subtly look down as she jumps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to do. I just remember like climbing a pipe and then looking up at the next pipe, pressing A to jump, die, forward to your death. Repeat 10 times. And then the 11th time it just randomly works. And the learning curve of that game is broken to hell. It's like, it goes like this. Your learning curve is like, one guy, one unarmed guy.
Yeah.
2 unarmed guys.
Yeah.
3 dudes with shotguns. And then you're like trying to beat 3 guys with shotguns. You've not.
I think
But when it worked, it worked.
Yeah, it's one of those games that when it first came, that's one of those games where I played the demo and it sold me on it. I played that demo. That is the most demo game I've played.
That's the most demo.
That is the most demo I have.
That is the most demo I've ever demoed.
Bro, I demoed that all the way. So demoed.
So trial.
But yeah, so much demo. So trial. Wow, such sale. But yeah, I played that demo so much, and I think anything. It did platforming, and it did the feeling of being a free runner was so good. But I think, in my mind, it's like they were forced to put people with guns in there by EA. Like someone stepped in and said,
no one will buy this. Theme that I keep repeating. They found out that it wasn't that much fun on its own just to jump and platform and adventure.
They got scared.
We got to put some guns in there.
I think it was. I think they were the people arguing it was fun on its own. But then someone from EA.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I'm not sure. We can't say someone from EA just came in and said,
that's what I said. That's what I said in my brain. If this is what it feels like, it feels like a guy with a money hat
imagine they put themselves under that pressure.
And said, like,
and it's another game that I really admired, and I was happy to see EA making that sort of game. I think it came out like maybe even the same day as Dead Space. I bought them at the same time. Yeah. You know, and I loved that. I played both of them to completion. I loved that EA were making those sorts of games. But I think few people would disagree that game's as much flawed as it is brilliant.
Staggering potential.
And I can't wait to see what they do with the next one. It sounds like they're going to, you know, change it up a bit, make an open world, make it a bit more action adventure, maybe put in some RPG elements. That could work.
Well, it was the action elements of the game.
Yeah, it was the meat of the game that kind of dropped out.
Yeah.
I remember the final segment in that game where you need to shoot the servers. Absolutely, that is my moment where I nearly broke a controller because I didn't tell you need to shoot these servers.
I was just trying to jump on a pipe.
That's what I was trying. The entire my one was just like I've no reason to pick up a gun in this entire game. Now you want me to find a gun and shoot those servers, but you're not going to tell me. I spent ages running around that room trying to find an exit, a way out, and just getting shot by everyone. It's so annoying.
We're going to say no on this.
No Mirror's Edge.
Here we come. Here we go. To next one.
Rob's favourite game.
Rob's favourite game ever. Journey.
Right. I think Journey should go through.
What? No, you're a liar. You're doing this just...
No, I really like Journey.
I think,
let's not forget, you made this up. Remember when you said that
Robbie
hates
Journey was overrated?
No, I thought Journey was overrated because everyone thinks it's the greatest thing of all time. Like, it's not the greatest thing of all time. It deserves to go through. It's a really good game.
I would put my experience with Journey... Well, that's how long it is.
That's the entire game.
I would put my experience of Journey up there with Wii Sports as defining moments in games where it showed me something that... It showed me something that games could be that I didn't expect. Like, what a beautiful moment when you just bump into another player and, you know, just speak to each other in that, you know, funny made-up language, and then just without any sort of persuasion or sign noticing or anything, just follow him around, and then you just jump around together. And what a beautiful game. It showed me a new kind of online game. Again, it sets the path for what I think will be the next gen of games. That mingle player, where it's just other guys in your game.
Don't like that word.
They're not intruding. You can ignore them if you want, but the game becomes something so much deeper if you pay attention to it.
It sounds like I was very fortunate in that the first time it could connect, it did connect for me, and someone came in and they were helpful, and it looked like we were trying to solve the puzzle at the same time for the first time.
So he didn't even tell you to do that. You just both decided you can't even talk other than pressing your little speech bubble mode. It doesn't even tell you who they are. You have to finish the game to find out who you played with.
And they narrowed down the UI as much as they could to the point where all they had was the terms and conditions, which I think is like EU regulation. They had to put that in, but everything else, it was just like it was so.
That level clean. with a sunset where you're just like
surfing the sand. That's amazing.
God, that's
I could play that game again.
My experience, what I loved was just the fact that I went online and some guy showed me where to go, and then when I fell down, like halfway up this massive tower, I fell down. Instead of someone going ape shit at me,
it's kind of fitting.
He waited for me there. And then I came back and he met me there, and we carried on going.
Oh, that is so cool!
This game is special.
I know we've not put many of the big AAA PlayStation 3 games through on this list, and we put some of the Xbox ones down. But it's rather fitting that I think some of the defining moments of the generation have come from this ethos that Sony has of green lighting these experimentive smaller titles that you're now seeing on PlayStation 4.
Yeah, I mean, Rob might not like them, but most people do. Yeah. He sent me an email once saying my review of Journey, and it was just a drawing he'd done of a baby crying into a gutter.
Right, this is. I don't know where this fabrication's come from.
My Journey, and it was a picture of him putting Journey in the bin. So he'd even made, even though you can't even buy a physical copy. Yeah, he made a copy. He made one.
He made a physical
and then journeyed over to the bin.
Yeah.
I think it's a great. I mean, that moment as well. If you remember,
when you walked over to the bin,
you enter this dark. You enter this hall.
His head is
completely dark, and the by this point the sand has gone this amazing, lush, dark green, and there's this statue in the center of it. I think it's like made out of bone, and like it's just so alluring. And you go closer and closer to it, and bang, it wakes up, and it's like this dragon. Do you remember that?
Yeah, all the dragons. Just
an amazing moment.
Such an awesome. And again, my girlfriend played for that game as well.
Yeah,
Talk about accessible games, like.
Fantastic game.
Not that my girlfriend can't play games.
So Rob's favourite bin game goes through.
Done. No, I like the game too.
Johnny goes through. Final game. The Elder Scrolls. Skyrim or Oblivion? And Oblivion maybe. I think Skyrim is going through.
You heard me talk about
tell us your story
and how Fallout with the super mutants where I saved it, inside a room with no ammo outside super. They sorted that out by Skyrim, so it's automatically a better game. I mean, Oblivion had the same problem. And I love the anecdotes that people have. I love the scope of the game, and I love like hearing in the pub about. I remember my old boss was saying he was in a pub over a pint, just going, I've played. I'm about 100 hours in, but I've started again. So why you started again? Like, what's wrong? Like. Oh, well, I got bit by a vampire and I saved outside during the afternoon. So I can't get into cover quick enough. So it's my 100 hours down the drain. Jesus. And that's like both what's great and what's bad with what was bad with Bethesda games. Like, what an amazing anecdote. Yeah. That's why people love Skyrim. Yeah. And that's why a lot of people hated the early games just because you would, waste 100 hours through that. Skyrim is absolutely the better game from... Again, an accessibility point of view for me, but I'm, I wouldn't take my opinion on this one too strongly, to be honest, because I was never a strong fan of Fallout 3 or Oblivion, both games that I would have played about 6 hours in, and then got horribly trapped somewhere and given up just because it didn't handhold me enough for me. So I need a game to entertain me. I don't want to go and look for it. Skyrim, I didn't get into it, but I would say that was to my taste. The others, I would say that there were a lot of stumbling blocks that prevented me from enjoying the game. Skyrim, it was just my own taste. I played that longer. I played it 10 hours in, and I just didn't feel compelled to carry on.
Fair enough.
For that sort of game, not be your thing, I perhaps needed a stronger narrative or something to compel me on to see it, and it wasn't to my taste, but I absolutely understand why everyone else absolutely adores it.
The honest truth is I played Fallout and I loved it, and I put a lot of my life into that game, and I was actually quite scared of Skyrim, and there was a time when I had to work really hard, so I didn't play it at all, so I'm going to have to abstain, unfortunately.
I think it's going to be remembered as one of the games of this generation, and... That's what we're creating a list of. So I don't think I love that game. I played it for 200 hours.
Shit.
Watch my brother play it for another 200 hours.
Shit, man.
So that's like 400 hours of Skyrim happening in my house. And
there's always Skyrim happening
always. And then I played halfway through it again on PC or something like that, just like screwing around.
Chris?
And it's such a good game.
I'm really surprised that Bethesda didn't sign up. Who are the guys who did New Vegas?
Obsidian.
Yeah. Really surprised they didn't sign them up to do a quick Skyrim too.
I think the Elder Scrolls is
people would have adored
precious
that
to them right
now.
They
have that sort of Bethesda have that sort of Blizzard DNA about them in that they will only release something when it's good enough.
Unless it's Fallout, yeah. They let the guys do New Vegas.
Yeah, but I think
wasn't that part.
People would have adored more Skyrim. They would absolutely adore it.
That was born from a legal.
But again, look at the quality of New Vegas. Like that's not. That was the first time in a while they've let. I think, if I'm not wrong about this, that was the first time in a while they let Obsidian do another Bethesda game, and
Obsidian are well good at making other people's sequels.
Yeah, but they kind of do. They don't do it that well. They don't do it that well, and I think that after Fallout, which New Vegas was fine, but it was kind of not to Fallout.
But I think people would have accepted that. People adored and were obsessed with Skyrim.
Maybe
so
people would.
I mean, like 12 months later, here's some more Skyrim.
Yeah, but people
perhaps not quite as good, but it's more content with it. And the amazing thing about Skyrim is the world and the scope, right? Just make me some more missions. That's what New Vegas is.
I think people would have enjoyed it, or people would have accepted it, but I think Bethesda would not want.
But we are digressing massively.
Their own.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Skyrim's definitely going through.
Skyrim, and what about Oblivion?
Oblivion, I don't think. I think Oblivion was awesome.
Again, I think the barometer that we've set for that is do they complement each other, and I just think Skyrim surpassed it.
Oblivion had awesome guilds, and it was fun in terms of going through the gates and stuff like that. But I think Skyrim
is that our last game?
That is our full list.
We have all of them.
we do have
Minecraft. I don't think anyone's going to argue that it shouldn't be in there. It's one of the most important games of the last few years.
Yeah, probably one of the most important games of the last 10 years. I mean, but we should clarify, we are just voting for the Xbox 360 version, right?
I hate it.
Why do you hate it?
You don't really hate it, though.
I don't like it, but I realise most people do.
Why don't you like Minecraft?
Why? Because I'm not a very creative person. I like to...
You are a very creative
You're right,
person.
Yeah, but it's not... No, but listen, no. I should specify when it comes to writing and creative writing, I can do that, but not when it comes to creating my own worlds, which I can't really say well with a Scottish accent.
I always imagined that most people playing games wanted to make games as well, because
I don't have that sort of.
No, I don't think that's true.
I always
think
daydream about games.
as Mr. Crossley's proved countless times throughout.
Daydream about 5 minutes of games.
As Mr. Crossley's proved countless times throughout this discussion, you can appreciate a game even though you don't like it or you've not played it.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot of people will enjoy it, and I do like looking at the YouTube videos and being amazed at all the things people have made.
Do you not like Lego?
No.
Oh, that actually explains it.
And I don't like Little Big Planet or any kind of level editors in games or stuff like that.
Fair enough.
So, any kind of customization.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind like. The odd character creation thing in a wrestling game or whatever, but other than that, it can do one.
I know everyone talks about the amazing influence that Minecraft has had on the industry and everything like that, but I think we should also remember it is a very fun game as well, right?
And also, as I've mentioned before, not too long ago, it represents kind of where I think... Well, clearly games will go with the next console generation in, pulling down the boundaries in terms of persistent updates and user-generated content and stuff like that. So it really just set its stall out to
led the way
where
in that
games
sense.
are going to go. And I certainly think it deserves to be in this list. So we put it through and we go to a vote later.
Yeah.
Yep, great.
Sounds good.
Beal.